Hi, everybody. Happy Pisces season. Today, we are welcoming back another live stream with Mo. If you have been here for a while, you already know that he's a former NBA player, and this is maybe his like fifth time joining the channel. Ooh, I don't know if you can hear that. And every time he's here, the insights land with a kind of truth that does stay with you guys for, days. We've seen the comment sections, some of you, this is something that you've been sitting on for weeks. And it's interesting because I was just speaking to Mo about this just before we hopped on live, where last night I found myself really getting really emotional and crying, but not from sadness, but it was from this deep release that was happening within the emotional body. And it's like a soul review that I felt happening in real time. And it was happening when I was reflecting on this asteroid called Orcus, which I'll talk more about, but it's something that I'm not just moving through personally, but it's something that I feel like we're all moving through collectively. And Orcus is the part of the soul that essentially remembers the promise that we've made before incarnation, and is an oath that we've made to ourselves, essentially, about who we would become, about the things in which we would heal, and what frequency we would actually anchor into this very lifetime. So right now, as we're moving through Pisces season and we're heading into the new astrological year, we're being stripped from every version of self that we essentially cannot fulfill that vow that we had promised. And it's uncomfortable and it's emotional, but it's also liberating. And it's the very moment where embodiment actually begins, because we're not just talking about evolution, but we are becoming the version of ourselves that our soul already knows us to be. So for that reason, we found ourselves here on this corner of the internet, in this communication hub, at this specific a moment in space and time where our paths have intersected and interconnected, and there's no coincidences. We've come back to this point of remembrance while inside of the system, and it's because inside of us something is waking up in each and every single one of us. So tonight we're going to go into that. We're going to go into embodiment, remembrance, into the version of self that is ready to fulfill that promise that we had made. And I can't think of anyone better to explore this with. So thank you, Mo. Welcome back.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Let's get it. Let's get it. It's good. It's always a thrill to come on here and build with you guys and just try to take things to the next level, gain a little bit more clarity, and ultimately support each other along the way on this journey. So it's a beautiful thing.
Mm. I wanted to ask you, what do you feel like we're moving through, not just collectively, but also subjectively on your own journey as we prepare to close out the zodiac year? How have you felt in that shift from Aries season into Pisces season?
Man, you know what? It just feels like I don't know. It feels like a friendly shift, in my opinion. But although I could tell the difference just coming out of Aquarian season, of course, and then moving into Pisces season. I could feel it, just because it's just such a Aquarian season, such a favorable energy for myself, me being Aquarian and everything. So I could definitely see where it's like, it's moving from, I would say, more of a allowance. Obviously, we want to always be in the state of allowance and being in the state of flow, but I feel like this season is starting to really push me for sure to be a lot more proactive and making moves and making steps, along with the ideas of it being, moving to the horse year now. So it's just, I feel like, things have ramped up in a way to where it's like there's not a lot of room to be overthinking right now. This is the perfect opportunity to move on ideas and whatnot. So if you have ideas, you might want to move on it. If there's certain things that you may have procrastinated on in the past, this is not the time to actually, this is the time to actually move forward and hop on these things and not allow too much time to move between action steps and the ideas right now. So that's what I'm getting. Just getting out there. If you have books, push your books. If you have anything that you have going on that you actually want to get out there and see and have motion for, you got to really be using your action steps right now and moving forward and moving with the universe and the energy right now, because it's not waiting on nobody. But not to say that you have to be in the state of FOMO, but it really is one of those things where it's like, I don't want to say get on and get left, but this is horse energy. So it's kind of like you got to be able to move and be really, really mentally agile. You have to be flexible. You have to really be in a state of go. You know, this is what time it is at that point. So that's what I've been feeling, and I'm really seeing that. You know, just doing some of my research over this past um, you know, month or so about how we can actually benefit from this energy. It really does, predicate on your idea of being able to move and move accordingly. You know.
No, that's really well said. It reminds me when you were speaking about that, I'm thinking what we actually have going on is that this is the month or the solar return where essentially the sun is entering the territory where the north node currently resides, and the north node in Pisces is literally all about the surrender and remembering the sacredness in that surrender. And I was reflecting on this last night where it can feel uncomfortable, but we can find, deep joy in deep truths. Like we can find joy in deep truths, and we can also find joy within that discomfort because it is the full range of the human experience and the emotions that we get to explore here. And it's only through moving through the discomfort that we find that relief. And I feel like that's what it is that we're moving. Like we're not just pretending and we're not spiritually bypassing or even numbing ourselves to the experience, but we are collapsing into a place within ourselves that something is being revealed or something is being remembered in this moment. And what I feel like is going on is that we're moving through like this dissolving energy, because where Pisces is, it's a Jupiter sign, but it's also Neptune. So there's this dissolving into it's just dissolving so that we can expand, essentially. And it's like all the identities that helped us survive within this last year or this point up until now are loosening their grip so that we can finally release them. And the message I get from even like this, the sun coming into an area where the north node is residing, is things are being illuminated around our life's intentions before this incarnation. Things are being illuminated in regards to our purpose, and it feels like there's quite undoing that's happening, or like a collapse. But it's for us to just return back to our fluid, formless like nature while we explore and experience ourselves in form. So yeah, Pisces season almost feels like the end of a very specific coordinate within the spiral, within the Fibonacci sequence, and it's feeling like a clearing that takes place before this reset happens. And we're really getting a taste of what that is, as you said, Mo, like we're in the year of the horse now, the fire horse. So we're already kind of embodying and exploring and experiencing what that's like. But it's almost like a preview, especially moving through eclipse season, of what will be. So it's like we're getting acquainted with this new version of self, what that looks like, how reality responds to that, until we really become super confident. And it's also trusting what life has in store for us. I feel like that's what Pisces season is a lot about. Like, do we doubt what all the beautiful things that essentially await us on the path that we're already walking on?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. That's spot on for sure, man.
On a personal level, what do you feel like this has been bringing up for you? Like, do you feel like there's anything specific that's been revealed to you? Is it like more just like release? Is it more play? Is it more experimentation? Do you feel like there's any specific theme that's like really, really
Oh, I think
prominent?
I would say it's above all of above. I feel like this is the season to really, really. I would say be prepared for all the seeds that you planted. Sometimes we've people forget, like, oh man, I forgot that I was actually cultivating certain things because they might not see the results from it right away. So this is actually that time where I mean, obviously, even with the getting ready to get out of what's that say, the winter coming into the springtime. So it's like now the harvest is beginning to show itself. So this is actually the time where most people have worked for, a lot of people prayed for, people prepared themselves for. So this is the time to step up to the plate. And for me personally, I'm getting a chance to see it myself. Like just some seeds that I planted, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years ago, that's really starting to show, not only um in my day-to-day life, but I would say more so just the development over these years and being able to see like, okay, the work that I've put in terms of, just programming my mind and cleansing and healing and stuff like that. The work is really working. So with that, it's just being able to kind of move in that space and just really be ready to actually be home for whatever that you created for yourself. So it's really just it's that time to shine now. It's that time to shine. It's that time to really just you know get to it. And I'm really excited about that just because from so many years it's always just felt like preparation years. And so it feels good to actually be where I'm at now at the stage and just seeing so many things develop, with new partnerships. Like I was telling you earlier, just having a new production team and working with new people that's actually compatible with who I am and what I'm looking to become. Not only just in the physical. I mean, not, I'm sorry, but online, but like in the physical. So it's like I'm watching like different people come into my world that's actually not only helpful for some of my endeavors, but they're spiritually tapped in as well. So um, that alone is something that I'm extremely excited about, just because it felt like it's just been such a lone wolf journey for so long, and I just feel like that season of my life is finally coming to a conclusion, because it's really hard to like stay motivated all the time when you're just always by yourself on the journey. So it's like it's feel good to like meet other people that's like-minded, and they can bring certain things to the table, not only from their craft, but understanding the spiritual components of our reality in this game that we live in. So it's just a good time to be it's a good time to be alive, to be honest.
Uh, that's so beautifully said. I feel like that really resonates with your personal year three that you're having right now, where it literally is all about community, networking, and really coming into that next level of, interconnectedness, where as you've shared those belief systems and even like habits or a story that wasn't going to support where it is that you were going or what was in alignment with your possible highest timeline, you're seeing that be reflected. It's like those beliefs have dissolved, maybe old habits have kind of dissolved. And as that's happened, you've developed a new relationship with yourself. But the other thing that was coming through was like our soul is always speaking to us in the form of emotions, which are like frequencies and vibrations that are informing us, okay, when a certain era or period of our life is something that we're kind of moving through. And on the other side of it, there are certain things that we were being prepared for. And that's what it feels like is happening, where your soul, it has been showing you mm, what's in alignment with your highest possible expanded timeline, and it's going to look very different from what you had previously experienced. But yeah, it's like we're being shown the way towards what that looks like. Do you feel like this, on the other side of that, that's what you're experiencing now? It's like there's incremental steps where first we experience the numerical one, right, as we head into like the Gregorian calendar new year, and then we experience the fire horse like a new year on the 17th of February, and now we're being prepared to explore the astrological new year. It's almost like things have come in this incremental step where we've been introduced to these different frequencies and vibrations and what that looks like, and we're beginning to see that mirrored in our external reality. That's almost what I was reflecting on as you were saying it.
Yeah, absolutely. That be like I was saying earlier, like that preparation period where it's like, you were preparing, and it was funny because it's like when you look at where you at, well, I see where I'm at now at this stage of my life, I can 100% vouch for the processes in general, because we've always, well, I didn't say we, but I've always felt like I was ready for certain things when I wasn't, so like me being able to see where I'm at now and things that I'm able to let's just say work through, and when it comes to the ego, working with other people, being able to like really coexist with others in returns of, okay, how we're going to get things done, and taking it to the next level. I had to go through so many things in life in order for me to be here and to actually perform at a high level at this stage. But it took every life experience from that point in order for me to be able to move in this with this new energy, because the energy itself is just it's a very powerful energy, and I see why I had to really build up that sort of level of I would say build the capacity within myself in order to handle those things, and those life experiences, the pressure, the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs, the healing, the forgiving, all of those things were necessary in order for me to actually be in this space right now. to be effective and do whatever it is that I need to do in order to not only enjoy my journey, but to be an assistance for other people just for my presence alone. Because it's like when you go through so many scenarios in life, anyone to tell you that you embody these circumstances to where it's like whenever it's time for you to actually be of service to others, it would be real and authentic, and you'll be able to like have enough strength to be able to work with people and work with yourself, and create the highest possible scenario. But those experiences were necessary, and I'm grateful for that because without them, I don't know if I would be as successful at this stage.
That's so spot on. I think that's such an important point where you said you were almost being prepared to be able to hold the things in which you're now experiencing. That was part of the preparation, and it was part of the embodiment. And it's not like an idea of who we want to be, but it's an actual lived version of self. So you were already beginning to live as that version of self, and reality was now just mirroring that to you. And I feel like heading into Aries season, that's just going to continue to build as far as momentum goes, like action and self-leadership. And it's like we were being prepared essentially to take ourselves seriously and what that may look like, to show up in a way that matches how our soul chooses to express ourselves in through form. And that version of us is going to be the one that actually fulfills that, that promise that we've made for ourselves into this incarnation. But there's also a sense of it doesn't have to be so serious. There is an element of play in it. I feel like that is almost like a weight that can hold us down or weigh us down, but it doesn't have to feel like that. It also can feel like an elevated energy. So yeah, that's super interesting. I feel like there's direct turning points that we've been moving through. Are we okay? Let's do one last question before we invite some people on, because we've got some people in the back room. I wanted to ask, like, what does embodiment mean to you right now as we step into this new energetic cycle? Is it like you living as this version of self already, like you're not separate from that? What does that look like, or what advice would you kind of give to people that are not sure what embodiment actually means, or how to begin to anchor that into the now?
Yeah, that's very important. Being able to anchor that version of yourself into this human experience right now is 100% a level of embodiment that you have to really feel. So just to kind of piggyback off what I said earlier, like the true embodiment itself is being able to like be in certain scenarios where you've had to really put all of these spiritual concepts to the test. So whenever you're let's just say activating these things that's already within you, it really does give you a different sense of I would say direction, because now you understand that the true embodiment itself is accepting that you already are pretty much, let's just say, everything that you've always wished to embody, but the human character itself had to build itself up in order to be able to not only hold it, but to actually recognize it when it's here. So the embodiment is an allowance, and just really moving and acting on who you know yourself to be and why you actually, having this human experience. So, what you said earlier is true too. Is just being able to still recognize that element of play in terms of how that actually helps to, let's say, alchemize the whole entire components of embodiment. So you can't be too serious, but at the same time, you can't be too lackluster as well. So it's a certain just awareness now. You just roll with, because it's just it becomes such a I would say a part of yourself, because it comes from the activated everything. So it's activations, that I've been able to really recognize and realizing that everybody that's like coming to your world, they were always playing a part in helping you to embody these different components about yourself. So you might meet somebody that's helped you in areas of discipline, or you might not been as disciplined, but they're super 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 ultra disciplined. So it's like by them carrying a let's just say a more personified component of discipline, that's going to rub off on you in the right way, and then eventually you're going to activate that, and then you're going to be embody that without having to depend on this person to, let's just say, what's the word I'm looking for, to motivate you to stay in alignment with whatever that may be in terms of, like, let's say, like I said, discipline. So that embodiment, it really does take, I would say, a lot of paying attention to, you know what I'm saying, checking in with yourself and seeing where you've grown in certain areas. And quite frankly, an embodiment for me actually has been, you know, the ability to not care about certain things that I shouldn't care about no more as well. And realizing
Mm.
that certain things just don't really matter in terms of where I'm at today, you know, and it just and it shows up in my body as well. So it's just one thing to not it's one thing to say like, okay, these things doesn't bother me any longer. It's another to actually feel it and really, you know, and be able to actually like hone in on that little sort of way of living, because like I said, it only comes from the actual muscle memory and repetition and the healing and releasing and letting go. So that embodiment process is exactly what it is. It's not something that's just you talk about. It's something that you become.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what you said, and I almost want to meet it with the shadow aspect of that as well, where you could even mirror it within certain dynamics, as you said, someone that's disciplined, and they are actually mirroring that potential that also exists within you, and it begins kind of waking up, and that octave of self begins to express itself. And it's not that you ever needed the other individual for that sense of motivation or that sense of discipline, but instead it was kind of invoking and activating, as you said, what already lied within you, and you can see that being mirrored. And that's where that co-creation can happen, because sometimes we can see that and then we can compare ourselves and we can say, oh well, this person is disciplined and I'm not, and it can be something that is triggering or confronting, but really it's a deep invitation when we see it from a unity lens, like, what am I teaching myself through the form of another me? Well, they're actually teaching me what it is that I'm being invited to begin to practice, to exercise. And as you said, that's only going to become a part of who you are through reinforced thoughts, reinforced ways of being, until it naturally becomes a part of who you are. And we see that being mirrored, and I feel like that embodiment is that third density is not something that we're ever escaping. It's something that we can phase into when it comes to different dimensional lenses and how we interpret this reality. So it's not that we're ever like escaping this world or escaping the old earth, but it's that we're seeing things from a unified field of creation. That's where we step into that element of play, because we're realizing, okay, what am I teaching myself? What am I inviting myself to do through another form of me? And yeah, when you do that, it could even be like it can show, even if it's the stark contrast of that, like if you've been too disciplined in a way where you don't know how to surrender sometimes, and you don't know when to take those rest days, or you don't know when to kind of be easy on yourself, it can also show where you're still hard on yourself, or where you're abandoning your own needs to give yourself permission to rest. So it's like there is that duality that we're moving through and finding that fine balance of what it is that we need. So yeah, that's super interesting. But yeah, that's super interesting what you said. It's learning how to hold space for yourself and also hold space for another person as well, without trying to fix it or applying judgment or absorbing it. It's just being able to see that you can become your own inner witness, your own inner parent, and your own internal source for what it is that you need most in that moment. So yeah, I feel like that's what it is as well.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and bring Abigail on. I'm super excited to see her back. I know you were backstage here. Last time we were here, we didn't get around to you. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Oh my goodness. Hello, Mo. How are you? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you good.
You can? Okay. Okay. I'm really
I'm
excited to be here. Okay.
I'm so excited to have you on here because
I
yeah, Abigail is such a delight to work with behind the scenes, and also she is an inspiration to me. So I'm super excited
oh,
on here because there's so much internal work that you've been doing and that you've been moving through, and just to witness your own kind of blossoming and remembrance and really step
mhm.
embodying it in that cyclical cycle. Just yeah, it's been super beautiful and inspirational.
Thank you so much. And my intention for today is actually, I feel like I'm talking, my voice is shaking, like I'm trembling, but I'm showing up anyways. And that's actually my intention, is to there have been people in my life, particularly you, who have shown up with such raw vulnerability, especially at times when like I could tell you were like uncomfortable talking about certain things and you would say them anyways. And it gave me permission to truly trust myself and my inner experiences. And I want to consciously continue that ripple. So thank you very much for having me today. Yeah. And I kind of just want to talk about a little bit about how I've been experiencing my life. And I don't even know where to start. Um, there's this point at the trees, okay, where the trees meet the sky. The trees have always beckoned to me. I don't know how else to describe it other than they've always beckoned to me. And the point where the trees meet the sky, I've been noticing a lot recently. And it's like you can look at it from infinite perspectives, and they're all so uniquely different, but they're all just as beautiful. And I'm realizing that's the 0 point. And it's like a reflection of nature of how I'm experiencing my inner world. And it's like 1 foot deeply rooted and grounded, and then 1 foot wildly expansive. And I'm just sitting in the middle. And that's the point in the trees. And that's like the structure I keep going back to, because the lower part of the trees, it's so dense, and it's like the worldly problems and like the money and all the things that keep us tied down in the physical world, the materialistic things. And then there's like up above, which is the sky, and it's just so expansive. But I don't know, there's something about that middle, it's like an invisible line that you can't see, but you feel it in your entire being. I don't know how to describe it other than that. And it very much feels like Temperance meets High Priestess, and their work is very quiet, but yet speaks louder than anything the world could ever say. That's truly how I'm experiencing it. And I was like, fuck, like, excuse me. But I'm like, wow,
Mhm.
like that's literally how I experience my inner world. And I always have my whole life. And now I'm just starting to see it reflected in nature. And it's so cool because like it ties into like the nervous system, because before living my life in dysregulation, I either lived like 1 foot in the density below or 1 foot in the expansive. And it can be like a very delusional place to live. It's not creative when you're not grounded. And just like seeing all those pieces and understanding how it works has just been really cool. Um, yeah, it's like that that point where the trees meet the sky, the 0 point, I call it. It's like everything everywhere all at once. Like that's what it feels like. Um, yeah, yeah. I hope that made sense. I really hope that made sense.
No,
Uh
100%. Yeah, continue. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, anyways, but at that 0 point, it's like trust happens there. I don't know. It's something you feel in your body, and it's not like okay. Another thing I do, another little I call it hack, is I show up very often in my life with the lens of I returned in time to experience this moment. And when I tell you that I do that, it's not dissociative at all, because it deeply roots me in my body, and all my senses like come alive, and I experience the world like simultaneously but multi-sensory at the same time. And it's just the ordinary is so magical in that way. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm
That
like super nervous but also like super excited, and like I feel like I can vomit rainbows, because this is also for me like holding space for myself to show up and do this is an honor. And the reverence I have for myself, do you know what I mean? Like I feel like you know a little bit of my past, so just I don't know, it's very I feel like it very much like a privilege to be here today and to be able to speak about this stuff, because the inner trust that I've built with myself, like that's there's something around surrender in that inner trust, because and surrender is so much deeper than what we've been taught, because it's like that grip on life. Like if you just show up, and for example, like if you have a meeting every 2 weeks, the same time, same place, right? And I experienced this the other day where it was like, okay, I'm not actually gonna double check that meeting right before. Do you know what I mean? And it's like just that tiny little thread of control, and I just released it, and it was like a full body exhale. Like I felt it somatically in my whole being, and it was like, okay, that's enough. Like that's, I don't know. Like it's the more I'm noticing that I just release surrender and just those little bits of control and just show up and allow, like be excited about how the world's going to show up and respond to me today, like that childlike wonder, but also I don't know, like it's very it's not dissociative like it used to be. Like it's very deeply rooting me in my being. Like it's I don't know, like I have these moments where time just suspends and I'll be experiencing like multiple things at once, and it's just I don't know, I crave stillness like I never have before, and it's so beautiful. Like it's yeah, yeah.
Woo. Yeah.
Oh God, who is right?
Mm, mm. That's like infinite.
One thing you said,
Go, Mo, go.
I said one thing that you said a lot. And, I appreciate
Yeah.
you sharing with it because it's so important what you just said in terms of just like well, for, the first thing is being for me is like whenever I do my work and I'm like really putting myself back into it, like let's just say more hands-on environment stuff like that. I think that is the fun part, just to kind of like see how the world and life responds to you based off of your development with the work that you put in. And
Yeah.
that for me personally, I can resonate with that because I was telling my friend that the other day, it's like, man, sometimes just being conscious on the journey and aware. The funnest part is being able to go back into the world and seeing how life responds to you in that regard, and see how you
Yeah.
actually interact with people without having to like be in a stage of, oh, this person's there and I'm just kind of like just seeing everybody as just individuals and they're playing parts in the game instead of them sometimes feeling like some I would say in the spiritual community at times where they try to make it seem like there might be more just because you may have more awareness about certain things that make you go so much better. But it's for me it's allowed me to really just be around people and just see everybody just as one and equal and
Hmm.
the game itself is a lot more I would say beneficial for me in that regards because I'm participating with people. I'm not allowing myself to be overly critical or any form of like judgment in terms of
Hmm.
how I show up, how they show up. Because in the
Yeah.
end, we can all
Yeah.
coexist. Because the game itself is meant for us to coexist and see where we can grow based off of, or
Yeah.
recognize based off of our experiences, how we can actually accept each other and get some stuff done together.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I feel like it leaves no room too when you show up with like that curiosity lens of a child, like, oh, how's the world gonna show up today and surprise me? Do you know what I mean? And it's there's something about that oh sorry, what's going on? You guys still there?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I heard a strange sound in my ear.
No, that's so spot on with what you said because you're like this, you are this infinite being, but you're temporarily playing inside of the illusion of limitations.
Hmm.
And what's so clear about what you were speaking about is there was a very specific part where you're experiencing the illusion of separation and you're seeing through the illusion itself, which is everything everywhere
Hmm.
all at once. And it's like finding beauty in the mundane and being able to have conversations with everyone and seeing everyone as source. Not everything has to look like light for it to be light, right? The
Right.
cashier at the grocery store,
Yeah.
the teacher of your parents' child, the car. It's like the moment where you see yourself as the chair that you're in, the seat that you're in. You are the field itself. Consciousness is not just localized to you and you being a conscious awareness and aware of your own consciousness, but becoming aware of consciousness being the very field in which the vessel also experiences and explores itself through. It's like you get to
Mhm.
explore duality, you get to explore the illusion of separation, and you get to explore creation from inside of this dimension, from inside
Yeah.
uh, yeah, the illusions of limits or the illusion of separation as a whole. That's the moment that you see through it. What you're explaining is literally 5D and it's not a location, but it's a state of awareness. It's where
Hmm.
you go back to that unified field of consciousness.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, what you're exploring is seeing life through the lens of source. And
Yeah.
Mo said it really great as well, where it's like you find and treasure conversations that could even seem mundane, but this is oracles that may not even be aware that they're oracles, and exploring. It's like unconditional love. That's what it is. Like you unconditionally accept and love everyone at every stage of their evolution, and see it as this divine self-organized system that you're existing in. Like, okay, in perfect order, even the duality, even the chaos, even the things in which we cannot control. There is a cosmic secret ordering to it. And you explained so beautifully the audio message that you sent me. I think there was something that the moment where you said you were driving, you just saw like a leaf fall from a tree, and it was just like, how beautiful, you know. It's like even the leaves do not fall without the universe's permission. It's like you come back into that, okay, I'm in this world, but I'm seeing it through the lens of a child once again. And that's what it is, to return back to that childlike nature and essence.
There's something about having that lens of curiosity where it leaves no space but for you to show up and hold compassion for other people, because you just I don't know, there's just something truly so magical about it. It's almost become, I wouldn't say like almost like a way of breathing, like a way of life, where I just adopt that as often as I can. And it's deeply rewarding and rooting at the same time.
Yeah, that's so beautifully said.
Yeah.
And you didn't just explain 5D, but you explained what it's like to experience it from that lens. How you're and someone commented that a few I think maybe a couple days or weeks ago, where they said, I don't know how to anchor in the 5D into like my everyday lived experience. Like I'm rushing through time, and instead of us moving through time, it's time moving and experiencing it for us, right? Where you're driving and the kids are in the car and they may be arguing. And I speak to Stephanie about this the other day, and she was saying, well, her kids were arguing at like the dinner table, but she's just there and watching them. She's like, well, people were designed, like everything is happening the way that it needs to. And there's something that you pointed to, which is not just living up here, but actually anchoring it into here as well. And that is the embodiment, that is the view, that is the perspective, that is being intentful with everything that you create, even with your own thoughts. Your thoughts will determine the version of reality that you will experience, right? It will determine your emotional input and the way in which you'll perceive the experience. So it's so beautiful what it is that you articulated there.
What you were just saying too about I wanted to share your experience I had the other day. I had do a salt bath every day. That's like my medicine to myself. And it was like this belief, this fundamental belief in myself. And I'll just share it with you. And it was always knowing who I truly am, and like believing that like deep down I am who I've always believed I was. And it was like that final thread of that belief being pulled. And then all of a sudden internally, like the way I experienced it was like these inner dials were moving, these gears were moving, and all of a sudden they were like they were connected to the past and the future, like on this big system. And then I understood in that moment that the future is, the board where you how do I explain it, like the past and the future, also the gears started switching, because in the present moment my belief had changed. So therefore it's not the actual experiences I had in the past that were changing by these gears. It was the structure of them and how I perceive them. And I just really like understood that like conceptually in my being. And it was just wow. Like, yeah, I don't know how else to say, but wow, like, yeah.
Yeah, that's like it's embracing your quantum nature and your infinite nature. Because the past and future exist in quantum superposition, right? They're not fixated. They're very malleable, and more malleable than we are able to perceive from a linear mindset, where, okay, our body may be tied to the third dimension, but our consciousness is able to suspend itself simultaneously in all of these different timeline of experiences. And as it's like you go into the past, but you're seeing it from the lens of your future self, because you are your future self.
Yeah.
You're seeing it from a healed lens instead of a wounded lens. And it's often from that place that we can actually begin to derive and pull in and extract the information of why that experience was so important. Something that we could have related to as being super heavy previously, and now we're seeing it from the lens of an enlightened being, because we remember ourselves as a light being. So it's very, it's beautiful what you just explained. That's like quantum healing that's taking place. The past restructures and recalibrates itself based on who you are in the present. And the beautiful thing is the future listens to that and begins to, you know, align in resonant experiences too.
Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I just feel like another thing Mo said too about like I was reading through my journals the other day, and like old journals, and I was like, wow. And they were talking about I used to call them outer body experiences, but in describing them, I'm like, those were embodiment experiences. I was deeply experiencing presence. And at the time, I was journaling them saying I'm having these outer body experiences, but the way I would describe them, they were like these deeply somatic experiences I was having. So it's so funny to read back on my journals and realize that I've literally been breadcrumbing myself this entire way. And I can almost see how all these steps, like what Mo was saying, all these steps that I've taken in the past and experiences that I had led me right to here. Like I can see the undercurrent of that. And it's just so cool. And sometimes I'll have it like, I'll experience like today, a decision I'm making today, and then tomorrow I'll experience how that decision yesterday is affecting what I'm experiencing right now. Like I experience that like at the same time as I'm experiencing reality, if that makes sense. Like I don't know how to describe it, but it's very cool and grounding, and yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of I think it's a Zen proverb, and it says, you know, release the past, because even that is luggage. It's something along the lines of that, where even the past is it becomes a weight, and when we release ourselves from the past and even the future, and we just return to the now, we return back to our eternal essence that is only experiencing the continuation of the now. We are an eternal being. And there's a hieroglyph saying, and it says, there's one where it says like, you are everlasting for all of eternity. And when we remember ourselves as the timeless consciousness, an eternal being, and we come back to the now, and we come back to the I am, an infinite potential, and that's who we've always been. That is coherence. It's like we're forever moving through the now.
Yeah.
That's what this reset year is going to represent for a lot of people, you know, because you know, it being a 1 year, and I believe that, you know, just getting back to that like Ab saying, you know, just that original that 0 point energy, and I feel like, you know, the reset is going to really help people in that regards, because I mean, obviously I feel like that's what we need collectively anyway, is really just get back to the true essence of who we are, and being able to like truly embody it, and knowing that the embodiment itself is 100% was what allows us to be compassionate for other people, because you can't fake the experience and what it took to actually, you know, go through these things to feel it and feel others, and you know, it just becomes that much more easier to like just work with people, because in the end, you know, we all know that this human experience is imperfect in many ways. So it's it definitely helps me to be more compassionate with people in that regard. But yeah, it's a reset year, and you know, a lot of things are becoming so much more clear for us just because we have, you know, been aware of our journey. And there's something about the game itself when you're like participating with it and realizing like, oh, okay, I can see exactly how nature is reflecting everything that I've really got myself back to, you know, and it's an amazing thing. So it's a great time. You know, I'm in the first 3 year, and I went through the 1 year, so it's kind of like it shows up for me to be available for people to help people, but it had to happen because of my own personal ups and downs and being here, you know, just going through it and really putting stuff to the test. And yeah, it's a great time to be alive once again, and it's a great time to actually, I don't want to say start over, but to actually be okay with building where you at.
Yeah. I feel like that's such an important part that Mo said as well, because many of us try to escape the present moment. It's like we're not fully here in the now, because we're always rushing through time instead of being present enough where time can experience itself through us, and we're not resisting the present moment. Like, we're not resisting our past either. It's like only when we make peace with our past can we truly be present. I feel like that's where we're coming to a place of remembrance into, or that's where we're arriving. It's like in order for us to really begin to change, which I feel like we're not really changing. All we're doing is returning back to what we've always been, which is this fluid being that isn't bound by time, but gets to allow time to experience itself through us. And so, yeah, that's so, yeah, beautiful.
I feel like I've really reached this place where my human self and intuitive self have met, and it's so stabilizing. Like, yeah.
I think you're summing that up very well. Especially in Pisces season, because I feel like Pisces is kind of the return back to that fluidity. Pisces is the return back to that Jupiterian energy, which is expansion that has only happened through allowing yourself to experience yourself in all dualities, in all fractal expressions of yourself, and reintegrating them. And in that integration process, you heal. And as you heal, you become whole with, and you recognize yourself as, oh, I am this perfect divine. I always have been. So it's definitely a moment of coming back to yourself and coming back home. And very.
The way I experienced what you're talking about too was like a leaf. Imagine a leaf. Like, I've always been a leaf, and then all of a sudden the sun is shining through the leaf now, and you can see all the veins in it. And it's like I've always been in this house, but now the lights are on and I can see where I'm going and navigating, if that makes sense. Like, that's how I'm experiencing it. And it's yeah, but in the best way, like in the most grounding, stabilizing way. But it's, and I know for me on my journey, like hearing people talk about their raw experiences and stuff has really like given me permission to trust myself, and which has led just deeper surrender and deeper healing. And I'm finding myself in a place now where I want to show up and continues that ripple, consciously continue that ripple. And it's exciting, and it feels like I feel alive in a way that's like thrilling. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, like there's a fire in me, and I'm excited to experience life. Like, just,
I think what you just said there is so spot on, because even as you came on, you said, okay, my voice is shaking, but I'm still going to speak anyway. It's a hold space for the paradox that is you. Like, you're able to hold space for the contrast where two truths can be true at once. Like, you can feel like you're surrendering, but also it's simultaneously, you also feel so grounded and present within yourself and into that surrender. And that's the moment where you become greater than your fear, because that's something that's no longer governing your life. You recognize that fear is the limitation that you get to experience. It is the limitation in which we impose upon ourselves, and that we get to overcome. So, and that's literally what it is you're explaining. It's like the embracing your multidimensionality and coming back into that fluid nature. What would you say with that, though, around experiencing the fear and not acting when fear is absent, but acting even in the presence of that fear, and being able to play with a full spectrum of frequencies that we experience in this realm?
For me, I just realized that it's all a part of the full spectrum itself, and just realizing that, okay, whatever it is that I'm fearing is actually whatever it is that I'm supposed to be moving towards in the first place. And that's why, even like, just being stable, just allowing yourself to do the work to be stable enough to actually move towards these things, the fear dissolves a lot faster, because you realize that, oh, this is only a part of the game. It's not really real, but it's definitely a component that's helping me to establish myself, to not only move forward, but to be in certain environments that perhaps if I had it just, let's just say, allowed the fear to take over, I will be missing out on. So for me, knowing that, my purpose at this, knowing my purpose is at this present stage is going to require me to have to actually move towards these things in order for me to be available for those people and myself, in order for this game that I chose to play to continue to move forward. So that fear itself is 100% a part of that part is to keep you away from being as a greater service that you can be. So for me, what keeps me motivated is knowing that my greatest service is right on the other side of my comfort zone, and being,
Mm-hmm.
just being able to be there, and be present,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever that requires for me in that moment that's just what it's going to be in that moment. So it's a fun thing to actually move through life right now and not necessarily feel like you have to plan everything and you have to know
Yes.
every step of the way. Because it's so easy for us to fall into that stage of, okay, everything has to be perfect in order for me to move, in order for me to be present. But only thing it requires is your participation, and a lot of times your participation relies on you moving past whatever that fear is, and just
Yeah.
realizing that it was nothing to fear in the first place. For real, for real.
Yes.
Yeah,
I love
that
it.
what you just said, that so reminds me. I was just doing a reading before this live, and it reminds me of something that I was saying around the South Node in Virgo and the North Node in Pisces, where the South Node in Virgo, it wants to it wants to know what the answer is. Basically, it's like the analytical mind wants to understand what the heart already truly knows. And as we follow our heart's desires, the universe does reveal its mysteries to us. And I was comparing it to the analogy of, Virgo is like, okay, I need to know how I'm going to build this sandcastle. I need to control every single thing. So I'm going to try to bring sand to the beach. It has that level of control where Pisces is just like, release all the tools that you think that you need. You have everything within you. You literally have your bare hands. You have
Mm-hmm.
all the resources available to you on this planet. And I remember when you were speaking, I kept thinking about that time where I first had that awakening. You were like, okay, you had like the shell of who you are, but it's like, okay, consciousness woke up inside of the vessel, and there's this integration process that takes place. And I saw the Akashic records, right? The interconnected database that stores a living memory of all organisms, like all possible timelines of yourself, from the most low vibrational expressions to the highest possible vibrational expressions. And there was just this moment of seeing this from an L perspective, a completely detached view. And you understand how certain, again, embodiment and ways of doing things and non-action, because fear is something that you believe is keeping you safe, when really fear is usually linked to a comfort zone. And we mistake that familiarity with safety, when really
Mm-hmm.
safety is being able to explore and make friends with the unknown, because that's where we actually are stepping into a realm of being accepted and being held and received by all the experiences available for us on this planet. So it literally is that moment of, oh, I literally have been getting in my own way, and it didn't begin with me, right? This fear is something ancestral. So I'm understanding the pattern, I'm understanding the duality that I'm playing with here, I'm understanding what the illusions of limitations are, because they're showing me where my work is. So I feel like what you're exploring, again, it's been the fear of vocalizing your truth, it's been the fear of just expressing yourself, and you've had to come into
Mm-hmm.
that place of really unconditionally loving the full expression of Abigail and who she is and what her story entails. And that's something that it sends a ripple effect. Like that literally sends a ripple effect through every being that comes into your field. It's like that remembrance.
There's something too so paradoxical about like releasing the control. Like when you stop engaging with life and just show up with curiosity, the way like life meets you. And it's like it gives you more breadcrumbs, like the lighter, like the less tight your grip is. And it's just something so paradoxical about it. Do you know what I mean? And it's yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a super good point when you really just stop trying to predetermine what it should be when you get there and you just show up and see what it is. And
Yeah.
you're right, the universe does continue to give you more and more. The more you can actually, oh, you moving towards certain things, oh, we're gonna give you more. Keep giving more
Yeah.
because the universe want to continue to express itself through you in so many different ways. So as long as you're open and flexible and receptive to the idea of hey, you got to roll, baby. You know what I'm saying? Get to we see you when you get there and see what it's like when you get there, and be open for it. The element of surprise. The universe, our higher self,
Yes.
ourselves, truly thrive on surprises. And
Hmm.
it's hard for us to be surprised if we always trying to predetermine or
Yeah.
of how things supposed to be based off of how they happened and how it
Right.
may be happening now versus allowing it to be something that you move into the unknown and just kind of be surprised when you get there and see what it is. Like, okay, because now you're open, so just being open, just being flexible. You got to be open right now. Having an
Yeah.
open heart along with an open mind and having that heart mind coherence thing going on, it will give you a lot more to cook with, and for me, I'm cooking with a lot because I'm all right, let's get it. What is it? Oh, okay. I normally wouldn't do that, but all right, let's just see what happens here and and see what elements it moves me. Like, okay, well, how am I going to respond to it now? So it's like now I have to go back and be like, okay, yeah, let me see what that is, and really, you know, move in that space now, be who we are, and enjoy the element of surprise, man. It's making life that much more fun for me because no more judgment. We here.
Mm-hmm. Expect the unexpected.
I think that's
Yeah.
the beauty of it. It's like, can we get comfortable not knowing? Because everything is existing in quantum superposition. Like, it's not yet solidified into part of your experience or collapsed through space-time. So it's like there's infinite potential in the air, and can you trust that as you walk the path, everything will self-organize itself to download into your experience exactly when you need it and in the way that you need it. Just know where you want to go, why you want to go there, allow that to be your guiding force, allow that intention to anchor you and ground you with every step that you take. Understand that, your mission will be something that does ground you in this existence for what it is that you want to experience. And part of that is the element of play. It is the experiment. It's like, this is the grand experiment that we allow our life to become, where we don't see the things that we kind of try or test run as seeing that as a failure, but it's something that we're exploring. And we don't I feel like as well, there's almost an element, if I do this thing, or if I do this thing this way, then I have to stay in that timeline, or this is just the way that things have to be. But we have that fluidity. It's like, no, nothing is to be attached, nothing is to be owned, nothing is to be possessed. It literally is all an experience. We can allow ourselves to flow once again. So it's that we nothing is fixed unless we decide for it to be. And I think that's the most important thing that South Node and Virgo is teaching us. Not everything has to be fixed. They are both mutable signs. So mutable energy is what happens between seasons when seasons are changing. And it's like we are learning to trust we are learning to trust in the changing of seasons itself and what that looks like for us. And that in between phase. In one season, we're not fully in another, but we're in that transition period.
That's real. I feel that for sure.
Yeah.
I feel that for sure.
Is there anything for you, Abigail, that you feel like 2025 or just this year as a whole has been like a direct turning point for you? Do you feel like there was what were the signals that a direct turning point was coming? Whether that's like your own thoughts or emotions or your life path, was there any specific signal, sensations, things that maybe
a lot. And what comes to mind is like the small changes every day that compound over time and make massive changes. And that's what I'm experiencing now. And it's little things like releasing control. So for example, like I don't know, my husband not showing up in the way that I anticipated that he would. And then it's like I'm watching myself play out in my mind how I would used to show up trying to control the situation, but then witnessing myself being like, nope, not doing that anymore. And coming home to myself to that like 0 point and then showing up how I want to. And it's like, it's happening automatically. I'm not having to try to do that anymore. And that's what I mean by the small changes over time, how they do compound into such massive change. And it's so beautiful. And that's kind of where I'm at now, is witnessing all like the work that I've been doing. And I'm like seeing it come into fruition in a way where, I have agency over myself and therefore authorship over how I'm writing this. And like just understanding that alone, it changes the whole experience. It's so much more expansive and immersive. And yeah.
expansive than immersive is so beautifully articulated. Even with your husband, it's like you're living life through the perspective of source, through the lens and eyes of source. So it's like, okay, well, even partnerships, I feel like that's such an important topic to even talk about, because any kind of relationship, whether that's platonic, romantic, business, they're always reflections of the self. And it's understanding, okay, what am I teaching myself through the form of another me? Well, I am source. I am my own source. So what do you feel like you may have needed from your husband, that he was, again, and then you ask the question, was he even capable of maybe even supplying that for himself as well? So whether that was understanding, whether that was acceptance, whether that was compassion, it's like, okay, well, how can Abigail begin to actually facilitate that for herself? So he's showing you what already existed within you that you thought that you needed external. And when we come into that 0 point perspective, things outside of us that used to impact us, right? And what you mentioned was so important, because it no longer affects us in the way that it once did, because we choose for it not to. And that version of Abigail that's like, oh no, I'll try to control the situation, again, is putting conditions where it's like, okay, this needs to be this way so that I can feel this way. But then Source is like, no, everything is in its perfect design. He is perfect the way that he is. This situation is perfect. Actually, I am Source experiencing a fractal Source experiencing myself in this scenario. So how this is perfect, actually. Like, this is perfect. I have everything that I need within me. I am my own sun, my own source. And you understand, it completely shifts the way that you experience the dynamic itself, and it's from unconditional love.
Yeah. And in turn too, like from just me having these internal changes, like I'm experiencing the people in my life, like my husband, not that he shows up in ways where he says, I love you without saying it, in ways he never did before, in ways that I didn't even know I needed. And that's so beautiful too. And the changes are so subtle too, that it's like, if I hadn't been paying attention, I wouldn't have noticed it. And that's the best part, is that I am paying attention, and I get to be like, like grateful and thank you. And this life is just so beautiful. And I just feel at home for the first time in my life. And I'm really grateful. So
yeah, that's such a beautiful note as well that you said, because as you learn to come into that place as well, and you're present, you actually understand all the things that are happening. You begin to spot details that you didn't notice before. And again, it's like the different expressions of that. And yeah, there's infinite ways that Source expresses itself through all mediums, all prisms, in the way that light will refract itself. And we begin to really, again, unconditionally love and appreciate and feel gratitude for the different ways that kind of is manifested in our reality, based upon that unique avatar and the way that they may express love and their own, it's their own energetic signature. And we find the beauty in the contrast of it, because it's what allows us to experience a variety, a plethora of things, versus just our own subjective way that we experience love, or that we give it. But love is a state of awareness, and you came back into that state of awareness, which allows you to become coherent, which is all interconnected.
Yeah.
That's what it means to be multidimensional, for real. Like, just allowing yourself to be able to express yourself through many different mediums. It's like music. I'm going to express myself a lot differently through music, but it's still a form of expression from one's. And music is dope because I'm able to actually come from different places, or whether it be a darker place at times, to be able to alchemize into art, whether it's a happy place, but it's always a way that the universe, life can express itself through me, by me being, like, us once again, with the container, the transmitter, the human that's able to express itself in many different ways. So yeah, that's what it means to be multidimensional for me.
That's so well said, because the position of an artist is a humble one, right? It's where you allow all the different kind of expressions, and you being a multidimensional being, which means that you're also multifaceted, to essentially allow yourself to become a conduit to anchor Source, and anchor that into this matrix, anchor that into this design. So yeah, that's super beautiful, even the way that you said it as well. Yeah, there was something else, but it went out. Is there anything else that you want to share, Abigail, around your own journey, or what it is that you may feel like things that you've moved through that maybe you wish that you kind of knew at the time that someone else could also be moving through? Do you feel like there's any words of a higher perspective, or a zooming out, where someone may be experiencing a storm until they zoom out and they see it as a speck within their own life?
Yeah. that's just the thing, is like the trust, and trust that you are exactly where you are meant to be at the right time. And there's something so potent in that. Um, yeah.
Yes, sir. It always goes back to that trust. That trust is everything.
Can we trust
You
ourselves?
exactly.
Yeah. Can we trust that we brought ourselves here for a reason? Like, can we trust where else we are guiding ourselves and where else we're lucidly guiding ourselves? And there's something else that Mo said earlier around, it was something around not lucidity, but like, again, a point of reference where we have no historical context for where it is that we're going. There is no point of reference. That fearful octave within us does the best that it can with the level of awareness that it has, with the information that it has from the dimensional field that it occupies. So it only knows so much. And there's a time where we must begin to hold that fearful octave of ourselves, hold that scared inner child, as we begin to step into unknown terrain, infinite potential, where things feel like they're up in the air, because they quite literally are. Like, nothing collapses until you choose for it. And often it requires us to make a decision. I was actually looking into the etymology, origin of decision, and it's the Latin word to like cut off, to cut something off. And that means, again, decisive action is something that's sharp. It's almost like a tool for us to make conscious decisions and wake up within this contract. We begin to behave very, very differently. What has manifested in the past and what we have a point of reference for is often unconscious, how the unconscious led our life, and we called it fate, compared to our decision beginning to direct our fate now moving forward. And that's going to look very different. And that's us lucidly guiding our life towards our chosen destination. So yeah, I feel like that's where we're stepping into, we're trusting into that flow, we're trusting ourselves with that process and what that may look like in its unfoldment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The divine unfolding.
Is there anything else that you want to share, Abigail?
No, I don't think so, but thank you so much for having me, guys.
No, thank you so much
Appreciate
for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
That was awesome. Awesome. Nah, she's pretty dynamic. We really appreciate what she brought to the table, because she really embodied everything that I've been I would say her embodiment has helped me realize that everything that I've embodied is kind of like, what time it is. She resonated. She was like a confirmation for me. Like,
Okay.
it'll be exactly what it's gonna be when you get there. Everything is we're right where we're supposed to be. And it's okay when you realize that. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
Why they like, I don't know, me, I'm just like, oh man, it's so much better when you just be okay with it. Like, it is what it is. It just is what it is. And if I have some full range to change it, I will. And sometimes, you can make the choices when you get there, but it's just being okay with the idea of it being exactly the way it's supposed to be when you get there. And that's what makes it cool, because that's just what it is,
Yeah, it's not resisting the present, but finding the beauty in it and the mundane.
Yeah.
And that's why I love her. I love Abigail so much. Just her perspective. She brings me into that state as well. Just, that state of coherence. So it's so beautiful to see that reflected in her as well. Okay, let's go ahead and bring on someone new. Star Wars 3. Hello.
Yo, love. Hi.
Hello.
Yo.
Can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
What's going on, guys?
Hanging out, brother.
Must be the internet. Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, we can hear you well.
I might have to watch the internet. Yeah, TT, I wanted to just the shadow work thing. You've helped me so much with that. The deep shadow work. So I want to come on and just need to step out of my comfort zone and stuff.
How do you feel like that's been, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
How do you feel like that's been showing up in your life, like now? Are there any specific themes, or it's almost like an internal confrontation or really invitation?
I did shadow work, but I didn't do the really deep stuff. You know, so some really deep stuff has come out. Yeah, just so. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I've learned to just love all aspects of self, innit?
Yeah.
But yeah, it helped me so much for that. So love for that, TT.
Well, I always say it's not that, you know, I'm not doing it for you. It's like this is something that you're confronting within yourself. So it's a thank you to you, because it's something that can be deeply triggering, and it requires for us to take, you know, accountability and responsibility for, you know, the effect of our life and the result of our own, you know, decisions, conscious or unconscious. But it's beautiful when we have that confrontation, because we begin to see ourselves from a different perspective, and also our potential. We learn to really just be more gentle with ourselves and hold ourselves in a way that hasn't been done. So that vulnerability really is a strength. Yeah, I can also hear a bit of an echo. I'm not sure if it's your playback, Mo, where there's a slight echo in the audio.
I hear a little bit on my end.
Is there anything else you want to share, Star Wars, or
Seems
just that you've been experiencing?
What? Massive. My story's big, but I've just been. I need to let go of control. I need to. So I just wanted to come on today, step out of my comfort zone, and just get the book now. It's time.
Yeah, I think it's just a theme that we're moving through collectively as well. But you're doing great. It's just the energy of us having that reset, and Pisces energy really is just, it's that purge. It's like everything will be coming up to the surface, and it's for us to, you know, deeply hold space for ourselves in that recollection and that integration process. That's what it is to heal, you know. Okay, well, thank you.
That was high.
What's that?
Yeah, the deep shadow bit, it was bits that I didn't want to face from childhood stuff. So, but it so brought it all up for me. It's translated it. So yeah.
Is there any advice that you may have for him, Mo, around that discomfort that we're moving through, and having to know that as you move through the discomfort, that's where you find relief? It's only by going deeper into the contraction that we can begin to expand it, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
love
I would say that.
Create.
I would say the compassion for yourself, for sure, because it's like when you look back and you think about things that you struggled with in your childhood, I would say a majority of it was placed on you. So technically, it was never really your fault. So it's a lot easier for you to actually be okay, like, you know what, that wasn't so, but it was something you have to work through, because it did happen, but nonetheless, it wasn't your fault. So it's like realizing that you can actually be so much more compassionate for yourself, and I believe that's what's helped me a lot. You know, just realizing that whatever childhood trauma I'm dealing with, it was like, man, I was young. I don't remember ever consciously making a decision for that in the first place. So it allows me to be so much more gentle with myself when it comes to just looking at these things, because hey, it is what it is. It happened, but it's not something that you have to hold on to any longer, because it was you know, you were innocent for the most part. If we're still talking about like childhood trauma in those regards.
Yeah. Even the way that can. even the way that that can express itself in the present day. And I think advice for that when you're moving through like heavy and dense energy is that you're not just confronting the shadow. Don't think about it necessarily as a confrontation or something that is negative, but instead you're turning towards it. It's just an octave within you that really wants to be held, and that's only going to happen through surrender. So even childhood trauma, it's you confronting, okay, or it really being invited to revisit a part of you that was frozen in time, especially if it was traumatic, right? Things that we begin to disconnect from. That's when the higher self pretty much checks out from that experience. And there's a part of us that's untouched by time and unaffected by the things that have uh, essentially occurred during our experience within this lifetime. And that part is fluid. That part doesn't attach to the stories. It doesn't identify with those stories as well, and it doesn't allow it to shape them. So you're meeting the child who had no one to meet them at that time, and the shadow isn't your enemy, but it's just you revisiting an emotion that you were too young to process then, and instead you're turning towards it and your own inner child, and you're saying, I'm here now, and I can feel this without dissociating, and I can feel this without disappearing. It's like you are safe to feel the emotion, you're welcoming it in, you're creating the container to be able to process the things that you weren't able to process back then. And it's because you're seeing it from a more evolved perspective. It's like you're seeing it from becoming your own guardian, becoming your own sense of safety. It's like you are protecting that aspect of yourself, but you can't heal what it is that you won't feel, right? So you cannot feel what your body doesn't believe is also safe to feel. So a lot of this is like regulation of the nerve system and bringing safety into the body when you are feeling those intense triggering emotions that can come up. So if you're able to create a safe container for yourself and allow the feeling to move through, then you can essentially like metabolize that memory. And grounding and breath work is going to be really helpful. It's reminding the body, okay, nothing dangerous is happening here, because physiologically, when we mentally revisit the past, our body doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined event or something that's happened in the past or something that's occurring now. We re-experience the event as if it's happening now. So the same triggers begin to happen. But when the adult self is present in that scene and calm and compassionate, as Mo said, and regulated, then the child part of you begins to trust that process, right? So it's a reparenting that happens. It's like an internal alchemy. How can you become your own guardian in that scene as your own inner child begins to re-express itself? That's what a lot of it will be.
Yeah. I was only awoken 21st March last year, and I had to leave a community behind. I lived on a beach for 5 months. I've only just got a place 2 months ago. But I figured that on my own. I thought about the dark times when I was a child, and I started to go back. And then I remembered when I was a child, and I'd be upset. I'd feel like someone were comforting me. So I realized we can go back and comfort our inner child from then, and tell them it's safe again, and everything's going to be all right, and everything's meant to happen how it was meant to happen. So,
yeah. That's beautiful, because when we zoom out and we see it from source's perspective and from the lens of source, that trauma or traumatic experience, it wasn't a punishment, but instead it was a theme of density that you chose to kind of explore in order for you to transform in this incarnation. And when you face it, you're not just healing yourself, but you're also healing your lineage, you're healing the field, and also the timelines that were tied to that very specific emotion. So whether it was in that moment that you felt like abandonment, or you felt, fear, really, that's what is going to come down to you, then you're alleviating that pain because you're alchemizing it, because you're strong enough now to be able to do that. So yeah, that's beautiful what you said about revisiting the past of quantum healing.
Yeah, I've been going all the way back to ancestors and healing, doing major healing, but it's working. It's working.
Yeah, beautiful. Keep doing what you're doing. You're essentially a conduit, so it's beautiful. You'll be able to recover even more memories as you clear up that that density and that debris in the field. But yeah, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing as well, because I think it's such an important topic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Appreciate you, Star Wars. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Nice meeting
I
you.
love.
Love.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, 333 is all about potential as well. It's a potential card. That your highest potential is here.
Yeah, sure.
Let's go ahead and bring on Lee, and let me bring on Richie with Lee because I've always wanted to see these.
What's up, Lee?
Look at this guy. Look at
What's
this
up?
guy over here. Look at this guy over here. What's going on?
Oh, thank you so much for having us. Oh my god.
What's going on, Mo? What's going on, TT?
Good.
Greetings.
I think I caught you guys off guard by bringing you together, but I caught myself off guard because I only thought about but I was like, just playing around with it. I was like, yeah, this
No, this is awesome. Thank you.
Thank
How's
you
everybody
so much.
doing?
Wow, yeah. How are you doing?
Another day in paradise. Another day in paradise. I was liking what you were saying earlier. I think the big theme is like we really have to regulate our nervous system right now. That's the biggest thing. What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's like spirit has a lot to say.
Yeah.
A lot. And I just wanted to touch on they want to talk about three things that that TT and Mo brought up. Discipline, the mind, and not resenting your identity. They wanted to talk about those three things. I hope that I can channel for you today because they're, you know, if you don't mind, like they're very eager to speak with you. And also, I also wanted to mention that it's very ironic that we did that that meditation last week with the chakras because I got my Reiki masters yesterday. And they were literally teaching us how to clear out the chakras, like one by one, like clearing it out. And it was very similar. It was very similar to the way that you showed us how to do it. And it was incredible. So they gave us the precepts, and I haven't done it in like 10 years. Like I've done Reiki, but I haven't taken the first class in a long time. And it was like this crazy remembrance because the precepts are you're supposed to say to yourself every day, just for today, I will not feel anger. I will not worry. I will be humble. I will be honest in my work. And I will be compassionate to myself and others. And once you get to the master level, it's no longer, I will not feel anger. I will not worry. It's just for today. Do not anger. Do not worry. Be humble. Be honest in your work because you're releasing that identity and you're identifying the entire concept of the Reiki is to embody your light and to be your light and just embody the fact that you're not the body. And the way that they explained it was so beautiful. And they gave me, you know, like the symbols that I put in our space. Like as I'm sitting here in this incredible space that you've created, thank you. I was putting the this is 𝓼𝓻𝓪𝓵. 𝓼𝓻𝓪𝓵 is the light, and it brings in the light, and it's a symbol. So I visualize all of us together holding hands in this space, you know, and it's just it's so beautiful. Like each one of us, and I just want to say how Abby and Star Wars, like like you give me courage, like you give me strength. Like Abby's courage and joy was very contagious, and Star Wars' determination to go back, you know, and I've been doing that. So thank you. I've been going back and walking hand in hand with my younger self, as if I'm like his guardian angel that went back in time, and I just walk with him and talk with him, and I really appreciate that. But yeah, at some point, we would love to mention. First off, we understand that Richard is learning, so we're going to be easy. And we simply want to say that we refer to ourselves as his A team or all of your A team. So we are a collective of councils. We are a tribe of light, if you will. And much of what you said, we would like to touch on. Nothing that we say is going to be something that you haven't spoken about already. But something that Mo mentioned and TT mentioned about the mind, thoughts. Thoughts. Your mind creates. You are a creator in this creatrix. Now, every single thought matters at this time. First and foremost, we want to congratulate you because you have shifted. And all of these astronomical events, these massive events outside of you, are massive shifts inside of you. It is a mirror. These are not, they may feel subtle, these are not small shifts that are occurring. You have indeed shifted into this new earth. Now what? Now what do we do? You're in this space, you're in this new earth. Now we need to consciously choose. It's a choice. You have a choice every single moment. And this is what we want to speak of. Now, Richard almost got sick a month ago. He started feeling the symptoms, and we told him, do not focus on your thoughts, every single thought. His mind was telling him, you're going to get sicker. You don't feel good. I don't feel good. I feel terrible. I'm going to start sneezing. I'm going to start coughing. And he stopped it. And he said, no, I feel great, with conviction, with 100% certainty. But even though he didn't have 100% certainty, he still was able to diminish the symptoms, and he stopped the sickness. He ended the illness rather quickly by focusing on his thoughts, being aware of his thoughts. Your thoughts literally create your reality. Now, your heaven is not a destination. Heaven is a state of mind. Think about this. What if just outside your periphery was heaven itself? This beautiful Eden, just outside of what you can see, is this beautiful Eden. But everything that you're paying attention to is still creating this cycle of creation that you are, this endless loop. Your devices. Whoa. We told Richard to turn the phone off for 24 hours. For 24 hours, he turned, it wasn't quite 24 hours, but he turned his phone off for a day. Now, after he turned his phone off with intention, he felt the shift. He felt a shift, and we said, sit in this, be in this. Of course, he wanted to watch his YouTube. He wanted to watch all of these things that he is used to and accustomed to, attached to. And there's no problem with supporting these beautiful beings that are spreading their light and love. This is not what we mean. What we are saying is you have to change the lens. You are the observer. Do not feel as if you need or want. If you want to make this shift, if you want to anchor into this new earth that you have created through your love and through your anchoring, now you have to make the conscious choices. It starts with focusing on your thoughts. Every word you speak matters, especially now. The air that you are breathing is at a different frequency. The water that you're drinking can be structured. The food you eat can be structured. You have to experiment with what it is to be a creator. You can put love into a dinner table, enough to the point where every plate of food that you place upon the table is blessed with that love. Every doorway you walk through, you can bless the doorway. Every time I walk through this doorway, I am healed. It's a shift in the way of thinking. We are taught to think negatively. Immediately, you think the worst. You think, oh, this happened to me. It's only going to get worse. Lee, you did a wonderful job, by the way, in healing. So this is what we are saying. We are saying expand your consciousness to what you are capable of. You are the source. You are the power source. Affirm, affirm, affirm. It's not just taking control over your thoughts and being aware of them. It's being present. Where are my thoughts going? Because if you are thinking of the future or the past, your energy is quite literally going. But if you stay present, you focus on your thoughts, you know in that moment that you are a creator. You are the source of your creation. Imagine the world in the palm of your hand, a marble. The earth is a marble, a grain of sand even, compared to your love, compared to what you possess. You are the universe. You are the creator. It's time to create. This is what it means to take your power back. You make the laws. You deem what's possible. And you should not resent your identity. Richard resented his identity. It was appalling because he felt that he needed to completely get rid of his identity. You will not succeed. You are ridding yourself of your traumas and your limiting beliefs, your fears that your vessel has taken on. You're not getting rid of yourself. You'll always be yourself. Just like TT says, you are going to be in the 3D, but the healing has a lot to do with being able to tap into the heaven within you. And that is the goal, to reside in that place just outside of your periphery. And you know that in your hand, that earth, you touch, your vibration touches every corner of that place. Name it. Name it heaven. Name it Eden. Because right outside your periphery, it is a beautiful arboretum. It is meant to be the crown jewel of the cosmos. It is already done. You've already succeeded. But now you need to make the conscious choices. Every moment is a choice. This is what Sekhmet said in Egypt when he spoke to the group. Is this right, Lee? She said, all of you now have a choice. You've made the shift and you've anchored that love. You changed everything. You're already home. But you need to realize that that's who you are. You're always home. You are heaven. You're the embodiment of heaven. You are the light of the world. If you are the light of the world, you can be the abundance of the world. You can be the joy of the world because you're the creator. You choose what you put your energy to. You cannot react. You stop reacting to some things and you start reacting to other things. This is what I choose to put my energy towards, not the negativity. But you choose everything. Everything is a choice. Not just your thoughts, but everything. Like what you do, your actions. But now more than ever, the energy is so potent and it's in your favor because you've done the work. You've succeeded. So we are elated. We are overjoyed in this moment to be here with you. There are no words because this is the prophesized moment. But we've waited so long. You've waited so long. You feel like you've waited so long, seemingly. But what is time? What is distance? When you can channel, if there's no distance, then there's no time. If there's no time, it should be easy for you to believe and have faith. 100% certainty goes hand in hand with 100% faith. Believe in yourself. The limitations have to go. And it all starts with focusing on the mind. What is your mind telling you? If it's not telling you something positive, it's not true. If you want to be in the new earth and experience it outside of you, you first have to radiate it and be there and know that you have the power and potential. You are a God. You are the light of the world. You already have recalibrated the entire construct. Like we said, the air is no longer the same. The water is no longer the same because of you, because of all the work that you've done. And if you have anxiety, you chose this path. You chose every hardship you've ever been through because you're strong enough to get through it. And we know you've heard this many times, but it's worth mentioning because you need to know how strong you are. You need to know your potential. You need to understand what you're capable of, that you can change everything. You can quantum leap, but it takes a great deal of faith. Long ago, actually, we will leave that for him to say. My friends, I'm very humbled to be in this space. Richard is doing his best. Long ago, I was not convinced of the illness that I saw. I was only convinced of what was within me, my true sight, my true home. I wasn't convinced of death itself. To me, they were sleeping. I knew much, maybe not even all of what TT has taught you. But I knew much. I knew that this was a hologram. ChatGPT was correct. I knew that this was a hologram. I knew that nothing was real except love. I knew that love came from home. And that is why I said, seek nothing outside of you. Only seek the kingdom of heaven within you. And you have all done this. You have all succeeded in this foundation of love that we are now in. Everyone is so humbled by your success because this was a group effort. We are quite literally a soul family, each one of us. It is no coincidence that we are here together at this time. And now it's our choice. Do we want to stay in the old or do we want to be in the new? And it all starts with the thoughts. It all starts with you. What are you radiating? How do you feel? Know that you're capable of miracles. They are not miracles. It's simply science. It's simply the construct. The fear of change, please use any affirmations that you possibly can. I love change. I embrace change. I love the unknown. The unknown is my home. Just outside your periphery are flowers as far as the eye can see. The new earth is not far from you. It is simply laid over. And the veil is thinning to nothing. And you will break through. You already have. We're already here. So please know that this shift is not any ordinary shift. You've already succeeded. We all have. This was a group effort. Thank you so much for holding this space. Thank you so much for your love and determination. It does take discipline, but know that you're already there. All right, I didn't do so bad. I didn't do so bad, but I'm learning to allow. I'm learning to allow them to speak. Richard, it's like Richard wants to like chime in, but essentially that is what they wanted to touch upon. Um, yeah. Another thing that they wanted me to say was everyone's seen the movie Men in Black, right? Men in Black, the movie with Will Smith, the first one, where Will Smith is trying to find they're trying to find the galaxy, correct? They're trying to find this galaxy. And I said this to Lee and the group. There's a reason why this is very important, because it uproots a limiting belief that we all have. So they're looking for the galaxy on Earth, and he's shaking the pug. The pug is an alien, and he's shaking the pug. Where's the galaxy? And finally he says, the galaxy is here. And he says, that's impossible. A galaxy is a billion stars. How is it here? The pug says, when are you humans going to understand that size doesn't matter? And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, how big is it? He goes, it's the size of a marble or a jewel. And then at the end of the movie, there was an alien that was playing with a bunch of marbles, and in each marble was a galaxy. And I had the weirdest feeling, because that is a belief that we all have. And that's an example of how deeply rooted our limiting beliefs are. You have a sun inside of you. They say 1,000 suns inside of you, because what's to limit how powerful that sun is? You. Who's to limit that sun? Because you can't even fathom the power of a sun inside of you. But it's like, what if Earth is the size of a grain of sand? You know, like, if a galaxy, what if every cell of your body was its own sun? What if every cell of your body was its own universe? When you do that in meditation, you can feel that. You can feel that openness. You know, it's a shift. You know, it's this massive shift in your perception of what is possible, of the limitation, because there is no limit. You know, there is no logic in this space that we're in. Sorry, I'll stop talking now. But that they wanted me to say that. I thought that was it helped me release a lot of limitations, because you're literally letting go. You're not letting go of your identity, but you're letting go of everything you picked up along the way, all those programs.
And that's exactly what channeling is. It's where you are literally becoming a conduit, so that it's not coming from a projected place, because you're tuning into dimensional spheres where fractals of you existing within those dimensions are actually coming forth and beginning to share the information that also resides in those realms. And that's what the higher self is. That's essentially what it is. And you're literally speaking about the light is essentially all that there is. That is source. There is only the light. And the shadow is simply the light experiencing through contrast. So even with doubt, as you were saying, with like low vibrational frequencies, it's remembering that only light is real. So that's why you essentially remember yourself as that being all that there ever is. And if only light exists, then shadow is light exploring form. That's what it is. And doubt is just light stretching its awareness. So if you expect it, then it is just an essence of playing through the resistance that only we create for ourselves when we forget that we are light. And the shadow is the experience. So it's like the shadow is 𝓷𝓰. It's like the ego is 𝓷𝓰, in which light gets to explore and experience itself through. So it's like you become the vessel. Light is the only reality. Shadow is just the costume it wears, right? So that doubt that you can even experience while channeling is the echo of the soul expanding and exploring itself, where your experience that doubt, your experience, okay, that level of wanting to come through and control what it is that you have to surrender. Because again, the position of the artist, the position of a conduit, is a humble one. It requires humility. It's like in the Shaman's Dream Oracle message, there's a card that says, humility is like the hollow bone. It's to become hollow and allow the wind of spirit to move through you. And it's the same thing with all avenues and aspects of our life. like what you were speaking about was so beautiful. There's so many beautiful things that you touched on, and that's the true nature of whom you've always been.
I just wish. Well, I don't wish. I'm working on it. It's like because I I know like Richard. I understand that Richard's doubt gets in the way, and it's like it's almost like I'm monitoring like what they're saying. It's like I'm monitoring it, but I'm trying to like step aside and just let it flow. Like I would love like I always don't allow like certain words and stuff because Rich doesn't know it, but I want to know it. I want to learn. So it's like there's a lot of information that'll come, and Rich will stop it because I don't know that. It's like light language. If I try to do light language, I'll start doing it, and then Richard will stop it. Like, no, that's not right. It sounds wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
that's so interesting with light language. Yeah, it will feel like that, and that's because you're experiencing yourself in the third dimension, as you said in channeled state. It's you're in the third dimension. It's not that it ever goes away. You're going to experience the shadow, but you learn how to hold space for it more and more and coexist with it. That's what it is. Like the light and dark coexist in this realm. You cannot know your light um, without its shadow. And it's like you're remembering that the light is really all that you ever are. So you're experiencing, you can see it as like a game or an exercise, but it's the same thing, even with light language, even with channeling and it becoming your own channel as well. So it's such an interesting topic because that thought will always be there, but it will eventually become background noise in a coffee shop as you lean more into that surrender. You're rising into a higher conductivity, and that allows you to actually, become a vessel that can hold and become the container for truth, ultimate truth.
yeah.
And I think we have to realize too that we're still human beings here. This is a human experience, so this is the dominant filter that the energy is flowing through, and that's why you have to work on yourself every single day. It's kind of like you wake up with amnesia every single day, and you have to remember where you're coming from. You have to remember where your source is coming from. So it's just like an exercise every single day. This is the work every single day. That's why you look at the chat and you look at everybody. They're saying these all types of things that they're going through. It's like I've noticed that like they repeat themselves. It's like, yes, we all repeat themselves. We all repeat ourselves in a cycle. So you got to remember, this is the dominant filter. This is a human experience that everything is flowing through, but you're working on your vibration. So it's easier the next time, and it's easier the next time, and it's easier the next time. That's how it works, in my opinion.
Yeah. What would you say about that, Mo, when it comes to becoming a channel and a conduit for yourself, essentially? Like, and even with speaking light language, how have you learned to allow that to just surrender and flow through you? When you're doing grid work and you're doing that everywhere that you are, but when you're consciously going out and you know what I'm talking about, and just allowing yourself to become a vessel and a conduit, how will you allow yourself to kind of quiet the ego, so that the soul can just do what it needs to, utilizing it as a vessel?
For me personally, I just feel like just being in the flow state itself is a very wonderful space to be in, and I realize that getting in the flow state, it really does. It really predicates on your idea of being able to just really get out the way, get out the way, and realize that we are divine interfaces for spirit and human reality. So accepting that and then being able to realize like, oh, I am just a vessel. I'm a vessel. I'm here to witness these things. I'm here to be a part of this whole entire scenario. But all in all, just realizing that, okay, I'm still keeping my human self in place, whether or not I'm the divine vessel and just playing my role. And for me, I'm motivated because it feels so much better to allow for the divine spirit to flow through me versus me trying to control it. And quite frankly, I'm motivated just by some of the, I would say, the positive outcomes that I do get and the results that I do get by just playing my part as a divine vessel and just allowing source and for many things to actually flow through me and express itself in the most fluent way possible. And I'm just grateful because we talked earlier about building up our vessels and building our character in order for us to actually be a multidimensional version of yourself, so that source can express itself in many ways, you know, and that's what happens when you're in that state of allowance, because you're now allowing yourself to be utilized, you know. So, you know, I told myself a long time ago, and I told, you know, when I talk to my inner man, you know, my inner divinehood is like, I want to allow myself to be used as much as I possibly can in order to enjoy, because the experience itself is good for the human, right? So it's just like, if I'm allowing myself to be that much of I would say an outlet or a vessel for the divine, I get a chance to experience more dope stuff. So it's like it's for me, that's one of the coolest parts as well, because I'm getting a chance to experience more because I'm making myself available for that. And I realize by making myself available for it, it requires me to be completely out of my, you know, out of my own way, and, you know, the divine spirit's way, and allow it to flow through me. So it's always going to boil down to that allowing and just being one with the game and participating in this game in the ways that we are able to do so in this human form.
Wow. Is there anything that you want to say about what Richard said as well? Is there anything like that stood out to you?
Oh man, Rich, the channeling for one was great, you know, just to get that message, and it felt so aligned and on time and resonating, because, or confirming for the most part, you know, it just confirmed everything that I've been truly just seeing for myself in my own reality. So to hear him, you know, break down that channeling, man, it was dope, man. We definitely appreciate you for being open and available for all of us, you know, just to kind of help us, you know, gain some comfort on this journey, you know, because it is what it is. It's a comfort. And I want to thank you for sharing that message, man. Appreciate you, man.
I'm very emotional right now. I love you so much, bro. I love you so much, dude. Before they spoke, before the A team, they call themselves the A team. They said, "Let's get it." before they came through, like, "Let's get it." Thank you.
That's one of my favorite phrases. Let's get it, baby. Let's get it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you as well, Richie, because it's interesting, because I know that you don't really need any like validation or praise, but like Richie himself, just, it was beautiful to witness it. It's like you literally became an instrument in that moment, and you were allowing yourself to attune to a frequency where everyone was harmonizing with this. Like I was tuning into it as bringing me back into a place of coherence. It was bringing me back into a place of where I was at the pinnacle and ceremony at the end. And I was like, oh, communication hub. And you said we didn't find ourselves here by coincidence. And this is like a place in which we are all aligning, because we're coming back into that remembrance. We're all coming to a point in our journey where we are consciously choosing what it is that we want to create moving forward. And to channel, it's not really to invite or invoke anything outside of yourself, but really what you're doing is removing everything that's not you. And you are doing that. So in what appeared to be effortlessly, like no one, and it's so important for us to talk about that doubt, because we wouldn't have even known, like I wouldn't have even known, but I know as well, when you do channel, you experience that. And it's not that you're rejecting the ego, but you're quieting the ego, right? It's like you're repositioning it, if that makes sense. So I know how it feels.
This is a very powerful subject that you just brought up, because I'm thinking, Richard's thinking, I'm getting in the way. They would have said it much different if I wasn't trying or whatever. It's when I'm walking in the woods by myself, it's literally just this flow. It's just that I'm in front of people, and my whole life I spent just fearing judgment like crazy. But this was the weird thing, and this is what I need to bring up right now, is that when I had all this anxiety, my family, when I brought it up to them, like that I was on medication, like this and that, they're like, "Oh, what do you mean you have anxiety? Like, we didn't pick up on that at all." I'm like, "You're insane." Like, I couldn't physically like look you in the eyes and I was talking to you, and they literally had no freaking idea. So it was all in my head. It's all in your head. Like, a lot of times you're just so stuck in your head. It's like no one was even judging you. and you were judging yourself. Like, you were so hard on yourself, and then when you're so hard on yourself, it spirals to the point where people do eventually judge you. But you have to
Yeah.
catch yourself.
That's
But-
so spot on with what you just said, because it's like it shows self-judgment, and when you judge thyself, well, that's going to be the filter in which you experience the world around you. You're going to perceive it as if people were judging you. It's like when you go out somewhere and somebody's looking at you and like, oh, well, you're judging yourself because maybe your own thoughts tell you, okay, you're not confident. Again, it's a whole bioelectrical architecture that you'll take on your field. It impacts your positioning, your body language, physiologically. And when that begins to shift, it's a moment where the small self or the ego is trying to protect it's trying to protect you from a world that your true self was born to move through just naturally. And when you begin to kind of soften that noise, or you say, like, when you quiet the ego, it becomes background noise in a coffee shop. So the opinions that we have on ourselves, or these rehearsed identities of how we believe that things should be just based on survival patterns, when that quietens down, the clearest instrument will begin to take form, in the form of you becoming a conduit. And that's when your nervous system becomes aligned with your own soul. Like, in that moment, it's like the assemblage point. That's why I call it. It's a moment where someone's like playing an instrument and it just feels like it's speaking directly to the soul. And it's just you come into that assemblage point. It's the convergence, it's the intersection of where the soul can express itself through form, but it requires for, you know, Richie to step aside, or Lee to step aside, or Mo to step aside, so that you can become a conduit. That's why the artist is someone who has to be humble. Humility is to become, to allow yourself to surrender, right? So it's like letting presence kind of replace performance. And no one would know. And you have so many, again, with you, Richie, even in your chart, like, you have so much internal energy with like the Cancerian. So there's a lot of internal, it's like you can become a warrior in your own internal mind, your own internal psyche, and it can be an internal war. But eventually life becomes too short to spend another day at war with the ego that's just asking to be held. It's just asking to be received, and it's asking to be felt. And eventually, as you said, it can manifest outwardly, where people end up judging you because your attitude will reinforce what your subconscious core belief systems are. So if you're subconsciously judging yourself, which is the survival lens, it's the root chakra lens, when really a higher lens, your crown chakra wants to come through, right? Your 8th star-pointed chakra wants to come through, and you're switching as a multidimensional being between these different filters, right? Like higher self, ego, higher self, ego. And you're always doing that, but then you train a state of awareness so that both coexist, but you allow that truth to arise without feeling like you have to even force it. And eventually it just flows through you. You allow your intuition to just speak without feeling like you have to edit it, because it can feel like that. And you allow your heart to lead, despite what it is that your analytical mind may try to prompt in and say, right? So
yeah.
That's like literally like two truths going on at the same time. Yeah.
While you're speaking,
sorry, Mo, you were gonna say something?
I'm slowly figuring out that we're all one soul. You know, that we're all one.
We are one, yeah.
Well, we're all one, and I'm slowly being able to accept it 100% certainty that, you know, we are all one and we're all connected. And yeah, so that's really beautiful.
Yeah, that's
we're all playing the same story. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. It's that. No, continually.
I was gonna say we're all playing. Like I always say, we're all playing the same story. It's all the hero's journey. It's just different perspectives. That's all it is. Different characters in the same story, but it's the same story, and that's why we're all here to support each other. Because like, oh, you did that too. Oh, you go through that too. Oh, me too. But I've just done it on this side of the world. You did it on this side of the world. But it's the same thing. That's it.
Yeah, well, I'm ready for the end of this movie. All right, we're all
it never ends, bro. That's the thing.
Happy ending.
It never ends.
It's been a long journey.
It never ends.
We'll feel like that when you roll the credits. It's like, oh, that person that I thought was the villain in my story once upon a time. Oh, that was just me. right? And we keep thinking before it ends. It's just like,
Like,
it is funny. And when we go into survival, it's only because we fall into the lens of separation, where it's like, oh, I'm channeling to someone else. But if we remember that, okay, we're actually speaking to ourself, infinite source, experiencing itself subjectively through countless life forms, we're just speaking to ourselves through different characters, different energetic signatures, and the way that they'll manifest into form. That's essentially what it is. So as you begin to relax, then you become a conduit, because you're clearing your vessel from those belief systems or separation into allowing a higher intelligence to flow through, because you are that higher intelligence. So yeah, it's like that's where you become literally a bridge between the form and the formless realm, and you become a living stream of your own source. And we can all do that for ourselves as well. So it's not that you're channeling beings that like are above you, but you're channeling the fractal of yourself that already remembers. That's really what it is.
Oh yeah, they
you know,
do say don't. We're not outside of you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing, because it's almost like at this present stage, it feels like a divine debriefing moment. You know, it's like obviously we have the global reset and everything that's happening. So with Richie's like he's ready for this movie to be over, but what he's feeling is like real, because it's like, all right, that story is over. All right, we already we came, we saw, we conquered. So now let's reset this game and get back to our natural state and play from this point on. But let's debrief. Let's do a little review and realize like, oh damn, we really did go through a period of just allowing ourselves to be somewhat asleep to a certain degree, to wake up into this stage of the game towards like, all right, yeah, good game, y'all, or good movie. So now let's, heal ourselves, and you know what I mean. And we talk about it, but now let's, get back into our natural state of being, and move, accordingly. And that's the stage I feel like we're at. Just really just like, all right, we know that happened, but okay, now we're gonna, heal from there, and let's see how we can build from here.
Yeah, well, I want to mention something that you. So they also wanted to say, when if you turn your phone off, they also said please don't sleep with it near you. Don't. The 5G is so bad for your body; it's not even funny. But when you whatever amount of time that you could turn off your device. Say, I know like people use their device for work, right? If you could turn your phone off for an hour, for that hour, disconnect from that world. Disconnect from the drama of that world. Like literally, like the media, the politics, that drama isn't for you. It's not for you. That's just for the masses to slowly awaken. We need to hold light. So we can't be deterred. We can't be convinced of that world, or that world even exists anymore. We need to move and shift and anchor into the new earth. So when we turn that phone off, we need to be in that heaven within us and completely disconnect. And yeah, I wanted to turn my phone on. I'm like, I want to watch TT. I want to watch Sophia. I got all my channels, but they said it's perfectly fine to watch them, but you need to learn how to watch from the right perspective. Like you already have the information. You already know these things. Just like TT always says, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. You're in remembrance. And it's from a certain lens or perspective that you're watching, and you're not supposed to feel any need. And when I turned my phone off, I had to sit in that. I had to sit in that feeling of, all right, so I need to let go of this feeling of need and want, and I have to anchor in this new space, this new love. And that's literally like just letting go of the drama in that old movie. Like we're actually starting a new movie. I mean, if you think about it, like that movie's ending and we're starting a new chapter, but it could be as beautiful and as fast as we want it to be. We just need to not fear the change, not fear our own power. Not fearing our own power, I think that's like the biggest problem. It's like we don't even realize how powerful we are. I mean, we need to basically experience, like, believe without seeing. We need to believe in ourselves and have faith without seeing. Like we shouldn't be. I don't know. We shouldn't be waiting.
That's like the problem with everything you see out there. It's meant to distract you, to distract you from realizing you are powerful. That's the whole point of everything out there, is to distract you and keep you down on a lower frequency. And that's what we're trying to
That's
do here. We're
exactly.
trying to raise it up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's no. Even when Richie said that around staying away from your device, it literally reminded me of in ceremony you didn't have your phone or anything for 3 days. So in that time, it was like a real recalibration, reset. And in today's society, that is rare to have, to be able to step away from it. And I remember before I even got my device back or anything, I was just thinking, and I was seated at the end, and I was like, wow. So when we go back in there, and it feels like that because the matrix is a psychological operation, it is designed to divert and externalize your life force. And Richie said something so key there, which was to create more than you consume, because we live in a society where consumerism is such a huge thing. And if we're consuming, and we are, if you think about it, everything that you're doing in your day, right? If you're like mindlessly binge watching tarot readings back to back, or different kind of things, external channels, external, all these things externally, from a place of almost like attaching to either like the person itself or the information that already lies within you, instead of coming into it from a place of coherence, because then you're creating what it is that you want in your everyday experience. Okay, let's create what do I want to embrace in the human experience. Okay, this is like a lot of things available to me. What do I want to choose to look at? Do I want to look at the weather forecast of astrology of what's going on? Do I want to choose to come into a place of creation? Like, I'm choosing to create this. I'm choosing to divert my awareness here because I know that there's a co-creation happening within me in that moment and in this space. And I know that is bringing me back into a, is it how conducive is the timeline essentially? Or am I just doom scrolling and all of my life force is being depleted from me and I'm not remembering myself as a formless being? Am I aware and conscious of what it is I'm doing? And am I present? That's the most important thing. Like, are you present in what it is that you're doing and you're fully there? All of you is there. All of your awareness is here. Because if you're tuning into like a highly charged event, let's just say, and then you go on from that, your awareness and parts of your awareness are still entangled within that. It's like, are you calling all of yourself here in the present? Okay, what do we want to choose to do with our whole being now? It's a very different place to create than just unconsciously consume, is like my point there. And that's what it felt like. It's like, okay, it can be so easy to fall back asleep and to just do things back to back to back and just have things because you want to have noise in the background. Well, when you quiet the mind, things that you need to hear will get loud. It's like only in silence. It's like, again, be like water, be fluid, because then outward things will disclose themselves to you. When you're present, you'll see that was a message that I needed to hear. That was reality reinforcing something to me. I have an intention, I have a question, and now I'm receiving my answer in this unified field of creation through the form of another me. It's very different. It's a very different experience. So what filter of perception are you viewing it from? And being, it's like a, how, I don't know how to say it. It's like you are, it's like every day is its own landscape. And the picture that you're going to paint is going to depend upon, are you conscious of the paintbrush that is your awareness and what it is that you're painting that day? How harmonious is that going to look? How many times did you forget yourself during the day? How present were you with yourself during the day? Like, do you even remember what you had yesterday for dinner, lunch, breakfast? Do you remember? Do you remember?
I have no
Do you
idea.
remember how many times you picked up your phone? Do you remember? Like, do you, and I remember I was having this conversation with Mo last year, I think it was, when I was in Egypt, and I was like, sometimes we just need to like remember how many times are we actually picking up our phone. Like, are we going to the toilet and it's like, I'm just gonna bring it with me? Are we going downstairs for something and it's like, or going outside, it's like, do you really need it though? And there's just, be conscious if you do it. It's like that's what I have to say. It's conscious creation.
Yeah, that's literally the most important thing that they're just saying, is that you are a creator every single moment. So like what you just said is exactly what they wanted to say, is like every single second you're choosing what to put your energy to. You're choosing what to create. So it's so you have to take your energy back. You have to be the creator now. Like, now we have the chance. We're given this, we made the shift, we're in the new earth, and we need to feel it and embrace it shift our way of thinking. Like if I feel pain in my leg, all right, now I'm shifting my way of thinking. That's not that pain, that discomfort in my knee, that's actually healing. Everything heals me. Every breath I take heals me. Every sip of water heals me. Everything that I eat heals me. Like this is the crazy massive shift that we need to consciously make as creators and actually try to believe it and have as much certainty as possible and watch and the fun of it. Like this is when we get to have fun. This is the fun part. We made it to the fun part where we could have fun creating. Like, okay, every time I wash my hands, I love this. This is my favorite. Every time I wash my hands, I'm washing off the past. The past is gone. I wash my hands like freaking every time. Like I get to a stopping point. If I'm working on something or building something, I'll stop and I'll wash my hands. Okay, that's done. The past is gone. Like I'll just have fun with it. You know, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be having fun. Like healing doesn't have to be horrible. Healing can be fun, but we need to realize that we're creators and that you are creating what's possible. You create the laws now. Like you create your own ways of healing, your own affirmations. You're like, you could literally just think up your own. My favorite affirmation is I'm on a permanent vacation. Like that is literally my favorite one, but there's so many. There's so many. I embrace change. I love change. I love the unknown. Just like TT says, you got to befriend the unknown. It's like we can have fun now. Like we made it to the point where we can actually see our creations in real time, but it's all down to your faith, your belief, what you put your energy to. But that's why there's mentioning the mind. Like they were so adamant about that, about your thoughts and being aware, being present, because your mind quite literally creates your reality, everything you're going through. Like my friend Danielle, she's got all these pains popping up in her body, and she's very, very stressed out, but she has a similar anxiety that I do. And I channeled for her, and the first thing they said was, you're in your own hell. You created your own hell with these thoughts, and you need to stop them by being aware of them, you know, and being present. And I said, do whatever you have to do. Affirm, write, automatic write, journal. Affirm as much as you can. Post-its, alarms on your phone, alarms, be present. PM. When I first learned meditation, he said, write PM on a Post-it and put it everywhere where you usually are, in your car, in your workplace, wherever. Like whatever you need to do, this is the spiritual discipline. This is the discipline that we need, because we need to take it seriously, but it can be fun. They want it to be fun because we got to this point. We are worthy of it. We deserve it. And now we can just have fun creating and make our own meditations, make our own breathing techniques, you know?
Yeah, I think what you said is so key there, because that is the Pisces and Virgo access, because you're bringing the spiritual into the everyday lived experience. It's like that's where the spiritual things that you do become practical, and the practical things that you do also are spiritual, and they go hand in hand. They're not separate compartmentalized aspects. So when you're cleaning physically, right, you're cleaning your house, your room, okay, you're clearing energy at the same time. When you're drinking water, you envision golden liquid light, this elixir coming into your body and healing. Same thing when you're eating the food, and you pray and bless over your food, and you're nourishing, you're consuming something that is going to nourish the physical vessel that enriches your soul. You know, it's like, even one, you can see the same thing with everything is energy, right? Even money is energy. So when you're investing in groceries, right, that are going to nourish your vessel, well, the energy is not created nor destroyed, right? It's only something that transforms itself or also recycles. So that comes back around to you, right? Money is not spent, money is invested. Then you see a profit off of your investment, right? So you see that come through all forms of abundance in your life and bleed into all areas. It's the same thing with how present are you every day. Like when I'm cycling to the gym, I'm not just cycling to the gym, but I'm aware of where I am right now in my position. I can feel my house that I'm leaving behind falling back into quantum superposition before it collapses back into form. It comes into its own architecture, and it doesn't collapse until observed. I feel myself off thinking about my house and I feel it collapsing into the form behind me, rendering back into my experience. It's out of my mind, there it goes, back into the quantum. As I'm going down the road is also collapsing into form in front of me. My gym doesn't exist until I observe it. Then it collapses even before I arrive there in the physical. And that's the way that this whole reality moves. It's like science and spirituality are connected. They are one bridge. It's yeah, that's what it's very well said of what you spoke about. It is such an important thing.
Wait,
I
so
just
what
wanna-
about their thing about periphery? I'm sorry I'm just quick. The thing they said right outside of your periphery can be heaven itself, Eden, like the heaven on earth. They said right outside your periphery, it's there. You're just not resonating fully or something like that. They said right, like they said it as if it was a hypothetical to me the other day. They were like, what if just outside your periphery is heaven? But
Right outside your focus?
Yeah, right outside what your two eyes can see. Like right
Right.
outside of your vision is heaven itself.
I sort of like what you think is important. Like something that I spoke to Mo about this just before we went live, and I was like, sometimes we put this weight on ourselves around what is important in this linear fashion. And it's like, again, we're like experiencing almost like this weight of responsibility when really it is play. It's like we can choose to keep ourselves in that tunnel vision or know that there's far more. That it's like, again, it's like the focus can be the storm itself, but when we zoom out, it becomes a speck in this grander library of experience that is available to us. So I almost see it as like a perspective shift. It's like the paradigm shift that happens. Shift the way that you're thinking about something, or shift the way that you're feeling about it. Also shift the way that you're observing your current situation in real time. So you may observe it one way, but that's your multidimensionality. That's so many other perspectives available to you just outside of your periphery. That's the way that I saw it.
Here's another way to look at it. We're in the year of the fire horse, and like a horse coming out the gate, what do they have? They have blinders on, so they're just focused on what's ahead of them. But they don't notice all the crowd all around them. So that's what I think. That's how my analogy of what you were saying outside the periphery. The horse has his blinders on, so he's just looking straight ahead. He's just going, but he's not noticing everything else around him. He's not noticing the crowd, the Eden around him. He just has the blinders on. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was going to reiterate, like what Abraham Hicks says: one, you create your own reality, and two, they always said your purpose on this planet is joy. That's it, joy. That's your purpose.
When you said that, Lee, it reminds me of I was watching this climber called Magnus, and there was a video that he did a while ago about he was like training as like people in the army do, and he was doing this army test where he was walking through the forest, and the thing is they just said walk, we're not even going to tell you when the walk is going to end. So he's hiking, and he's got his blinders on around. I'm just going to put one foot in front of the other, but the thing that's dawning on me is that I don't know when I'm going to get there. I don't even know how the journey is going to unfold for me to get there. So he just in survival, in reptilian, right, that part of the brain that is designed to focus on, here, now, present, what we're doing things from survival. And it's like if you take a moment and a breath and realize, okay, there is no rush, then there's this moment of taking in your surroundings. There's a moment of, oh, this is an illusion that I've created for myself. And you begin to question why we're doing the things that we're doing and what is driving us as well. So that's the way that I see it. It's almost like the ego can be that blinder, that straight path where we think that we're in it alone, compared to understanding, okay, we're co-creating with infinite expanded versions of ourselves. And it's a very different way of you're not alone. And what's in front, what you think that you see on the path, and what your current conditions may seem to be, is not all that there is, right? In the human experience, that's 1% of the light spectrum that we see, but also encoded into our field, and many other celestial helpers and guides. Just beyond, it's like a dimensional layer, it's the invisible blueprint that is the matrix that we exist in. Other, a counterpart Earth that's overlaid into this on Gaia, it's this cosmic overlay that's intelligently self-organized, where plasma life forms will cross over, sometimes incarnating into physical form into our experience, and we're engaged with them also as a bioplasma being, and will help us return back to our plasma-like state, right? Help us return back to our formless fluid nature. Other times it could be non-physical guides, but that we are everything. It's like to see yourself in everything and everyone as you. That's how I see it. What do you say about that, Mo?
It's like what Jesus said, he's like, the kingdom of heaven is within you and all around you. So having that recognition is everything. You know, recognizing and increasing and expanding on your recognition is half the battle, if you ask me. I mean, that's what manifestation is, in my opinion. I mean, in many ways, like, can you recognize what's already there? Although it might not look exactly how you feel like it should look, but it's always there for you. So yeah, heaven on earth is a real thing, for sure.
I felt that. When you said that, I felt it. I felt it like, you know, I felt it just go out like, yeah, it totally makes sense because every layer of realities is all on itself. Like, is there all the realities and everything's simultaneous? So it makes sense that, you know, heaven is all around us. It makes sense to me.
And it reminds me of even like channeling. Mo and I were speaking about this, I think, last year as well, where the Galactic Federation are within you. It's not something that's external. It's like you are also the Galactic Federation, and it's not this external council that watches over you, right? It's like an octave of you seated at a higher level of understanding, but it's countless fractals of consciousness that live within you, right? That octave seated at a high level of understanding is one that exists and is encoded within you. So the Federation is not something that's out there, but it's literally it's architecture. When we feel like we're calling in beings external, they're projections of our own field, right? As you said, this system is a hologram. Well, this is an energetic projection of your own internal universe displayed into the field around you. So it's basically the architecture of your own multidimensional self. So it can be every race, right? Every archetype, every simultaneous lifetime that's playing out in these parallels where you're leading a life as a Syrian, an Arcturian, as a reptilian, all star family members that you resonate with, that also bleeding into your experience on Earth, right? It's like we have shared many lives together in the Arcturus star system. We've shared many lives together in the 𝓼𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓬 star system. And these are simply frequencies that are stored within your morphogenetic field. These are like memories that your soul carries across these timelines. So it's not that you're ever being guided by the Federation, but you're remembering parts of yourself that already sit at the table. That's what this is. So the council that you feel is higher intelligences, like evolved fractals of yourself, future selves, right, that are coexisting, and just source encoded wisdom that you're meeting inside of your own body, essentially, in this one body of consciousness. And that's why I say it's quantum non-local connections, where you go beyond, and consciousness goes far beyond what is localized to your position on Earth, what is localized to just Richie, to just Lee, to just Mo. That's like one small fractal of you in the infinite manifestations and the different archetypes in which you'll take on, and the different ways in which the formless will manifest into form based upon the frequency of that dimension. And just happens that we are in the third dimension, but it's also a multi-dimensional realm. So this is like the densest version of you, but there's many other forms in which you're existing too, which are just your parallel selves. So when you're receiving like guidance or visions or downloads, or you're being contacted, you're contacting yourself. It's like, oh, it's a fractal. It's like, that's what the multiversal card is. It's where there's like a circle, you connect the dots, there's another circle, and it's like all fractals are coming online, lighting up like a Christmas tree. And then you're able to exchange information with each other. How some of the things that you're healing on Earth, well, those are also you pulling forward your starseed lineages simultaneously as you heal your Earth lineage as well. So it's you're fully remembering yourself. That's what it is. It's what the soul looks like in all of its infinite expressions.
I'm so glad you said that, because I was exactly thinking the same thing. Where you mentioned like all like the galactic council and all, like they're all just frequencies we're tuning into them. Like, and then you said it, they're all just frequencies. Like, yes, confirmation. There it is.
Yeah, my mind is pretty blown right now because that's not what I felt like, but I needed that so bad because I've been communicating with the Galactic Federation for so long. Like that's pretty much who I talk to mostly is them and the A team or whatever. But I never looked at it that way, and that gives me so much comfort to be able to channel them easier now. I feel like that's what I needed to hear. That they're not, because I knew they weren't separate from me, but I didn't look at it as okay. They're literally like part of me, within me, and I don't know. It was just there was a shift when you were speaking, and I really felt that, and it was just, but it makes me more comfortable. Like I'm not bringing somebody externally to speak because that's a lot of the time that's how I was feeling. Like I'm bringing somebody externally or a person or a being or whatever. So
That's why I say it's intercommunication with plasma. That's what it is. It's like plasma is source that emits photons. These are informations, and they pass through the cell wall. You have something called like the cell membrane, and it's also the plasma membrane, and that penetrates deep into the nucleus, which is the DNA. And the DNA is multicellular, right? So it's like all of you that's coexisting. You can think about it as sending yourself messages within your own internal universe, within your own internal multiverse. You're communicating with all different fractal expressions of yourself. And there's this intercommunication that happens where you can, your body, Richie, may be bound to the third dimension, but your consciousness is definitely not. Your consciousness can travel, you know, to the ends of the cosmos and back, and it's an ever expanding field. And you can suspend your consciousness into different timelines, gather up information, and this is being proven in science as well, where light waves actually go out from the skull beyond the third dimensional anatomical body, go into the quantum field where all these fractals of yourself exist, and come back, and you retrieve and anchor in that information. That's why I say you anchor in high levels of awareness that extend beyond this matrix, beyond life on Earth, beyond Richie, and then you anchor that back into your third dimensional experience, and then you act upon that information. That's what downloads are. It's like you are navigating your own internal universe, and it seems like
download is.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that? Are you going into like the Akash? Like where?
You could see it as that, where it reminds me of in the Michael Kazemi video that I did in Machu Picchu, and I did an analogy of, it's like this avatar is an iPhone, right? And then in the cloud, you have all these different memories stored within this database. And you can draw in and re-download and streamline all of this information that's already within your field. That's the morphogenetic field. It's how the soul manifests into form. Essentially, it's how you manifest. It's like the instruction manual of how the infinite manifests itself into form within this subjective experience.
I'm hearing that like your body, they've told me this a few times. Your body, they find it silly that we even need these devices. They find it funny that we need these devices. They're like in the new Earth, you don't need a phone. You're telepathic, you have your abilities, all the information is inside of you. Your body is literally the most advanced biological machine there is. Your mind is more powerful than any quantum computer available that they have. Your body is everything. Like your body is it has all the information. You're connected to all the information. So they're like, you don't even need the phone. That's why they want us to turn it off for a few moments a day and disconnect from it and regain that memory. Regain the memory that you're talking about, that you can tap into. And I was able to do that by turning off my phone. I started practicing. I had so much pressure over my third eye during the triple portal. I burnt hair on my arm because Lee gave me this ritual. It was kind of funny, but it worked. I was like, I still have like the reborn list under my pillow. But anyway, I felt a lot of pressure over my third eye. I was tapping. I was laying there. I was literally laying there stiff as a board for probably 8 hours altogether. Literally, I went upstate. I went to a secluded place and I laid there all day, and I just had pressure over my third eye, and I finally was able to like kind of consciously leave, and somebody took me up to a place. I don't know if it was the halls of Amenti or Akashic Records or whatever it may have been, but there was a soul contract, and they're they said you can sign this new contract. And well, I didn't hesitate. I honestly, Richie didn't even read it. I just signed it because I felt like it was like abundance. It was like it had to do with like the new earth and like this new shift or whatever. But it was more of a feeling. It was more of like it wasn't my soul leaving my body. It was consciousness. Like you always say, TT, that your consciousness is outside of your body. Like you could travel in consciousness. So I felt that. Like I felt that. It wasn't very vivid, but I felt it. And then I practiced like kind of going outside of my body and like seeing what the top of the house looked like and kind of just practicing. So is that how you started? Just by just by trusting and just
Yeah, your remote viewing. So there's loads of ways that you can do it as far as like even your astral body, but it's just this exercise. There was something else that I wanted to backtrack to when you said turning off your device. It's knowing that, okay, if you come back into that place of coherence, because anything that falls into decoherence it can come back into coherence just like this. But the matrix is designed in this spherical motion where we will fall in and out of consciousness on a daily basis. Like we do it hundreds of times a day. Like we think that we are awake or that we're awake, but we fall into hypnosis in this realm. Like we fall asleep in this third dimension loads of times where we have to constantly wake ourselves back up again and again and again. And once we are able to anchor and sustain a level of conscious awareness, and we can catch ourselves when we fall asleep, we become highly conductive because we've now trained our body, we've now trained our vessel to be able to sustain this remembrance essentially, and then that carries over even into dream time. But to answer your question, when it comes to like the remote viewing, what I was hearing when you were explaining it is that it's you traveling into your own internal multiverse. That's what it is. If you think that you're sending your consciousness out into the future, or that you're sending your consciousness out anywhere, but you're just traveling the worlds available to you already. So yeah, you can see yourself from like an outside perspective. You can definitely do that. There's so many different exercises that you can do that allow you to move further and further and further. Like I would remote view even in Antarctica to try to see what's going on there. It was a really interesting experience, meeting up with other people as well in the astral that were doing the same thing. But yeah, there's underground bases and all kinds of things. But it's like you can remote view into different planetary star systems. But first you have to kind of learn to trust yourself when it comes to what it is that you're seeing, because your imagination, you cannot imagine anything that's not already there. Think about it like that. You cannot imagine anything that does not already exist. It's just that is collapsing because awareness is observing it. The wave collapses when it's observed. It's like you're navigating what's already within your field, and it's all within you. It's within your own internal multiverse. So what you're exploring is not going to outer space. You're going deeply into your internal space. So you are not just consciousness that's localized to the vessel, but you're the field that the vessel is moving through, right? So you are the field itself. You are the house in which you're observing. You are, if you're looking at it from an aerial perspective, and you can continue zooming out and out again, but you have to trust what it is that you're seeing, because your mind literally cannot construct anything that is not real. What would you say about that, Mo?
Well, that's the construct itself is just, I look at it all as a, I feel like it's an opportunity to just be in the game, to fully immerse myself. With like, I was talking to one of my friends the other day, where it's like realizing that we are defined interface, like we are like interfaces between this realm and that realm. But like, I'm having so much more fun just allowing myself to be fully immersed in my human experience. So it's like, although we it's very, very important for us to stay connected and stay dialed in terms of our communication with our true self and our human nature. But something we get lost at times for reasons because the more we get lost, reaffirm, we strengthen every single time. So it's like getting lost is not a bad thing. So, perhaps going a little bit too far left, too far right isn't always a bad thing because as long as you're in full participation with knowing that you're going to come back to your center space, coming back to your home frequency, you actually get stronger every single time. So, I feel like some people get the journey mixed up in terms of thinking like, oh, I always got to be up here all the time. Well, it's like if it was meant for that to be the case, you wouldn't be in this physical reality itself. So we are meant to have these little dips here and there so that we can actually always come back to that space because we get stronger every single time. We grow more. Our armor grows, our aura grows, everything grows every time that we find ourselves falling out of what we may call consciousness, just to get back. It's always about getting back. It's always about getting back. And the more and more you, I would say, train yourself in that regard, the easier it is and the faster it is to get back to your own frequency versus falling out of alignment for too long. And it'll really start, I would say, disrupting your reality. So I think the main thing is, okay, how can I get back home? What method or whatever it is that you need to do to perhaps bring yourself back into that middle space every single time. And in regards to that, you're gonna continuously grow because that's what this whole thing is about anyway. You know what I mean? Falling out of alignment, coming back into alignment. Falling out of alignment, coming back into alignment. And what are you learning and what are you learning as you fall out of alignment? How did that feel? And then you keep going from there.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you mentioned that because that was another thing that I wanted to say, but then it went out. But it came back around perfectly that the third dimension is designed to experience that duality where it's not necessarily about always being remote, like I don't need my device. You are here to also immerse yourself in the human experience, whatever that may look like. Even if you're doing something that doesn't seem innately spiritual, everything is spirit, everything is light manifested into form. So you going out to celebrate with friends, you coming home and you want to watch a movie or you want to watch a show, that is also source getting to experience itself in the human experience. But the practice about becoming conscious and catching yourself in that is so important because when you do go back out there, and let's just say you're in hypnosis or you've kind of like you've been basically deeply immersed back into the matrix and into the human experience, which is what it's designed for. If you're not aware and you haven't gently brought your awareness back enough times in that exercise, you'll just be confused of why certain chaos may be manifesting in your reality. But if you're aware, then you can always bring consciousness wherever you are. Everything is innately spirit. So it's like you don't have to dress it a certain way to be spiritual. You don't have to do certain things for you to be spiritual. You are innately a spiritual being having a human experience. So it's just important to come back into that remembrance that you're not just the physical identity. Otherwise you'll be more confused, especially as we move into this new era, because you'll just be stuck in separation and you'll need that constant attachment or externalized support compared to following that higher intelligence of your own essence and knowing what, like Mo said, how to reconnect with yourself when you need it most, especially to support your evolution in the physical realm, because everything that you're attracting is not just, it's through resonance, right? So it's not just a wild card. So the key to your freedom is no longer externalizing your power to the matrix, where power always seems like it's out of your control, but it's about what you creating, conscious or unconscious. And even if you do fall asleep and you find yourself again in an experience like we spoke about, the wave goes out, it hits an obstacle or boundary, and then it returns back amplified. That's what happens in the system. Even if you do end up going through a complete unconscious, day or whatever, it really doesn't matter, because ultimately you will return back into coherence. And when you do, you come back stronger. There's maybe certain lessons that you had to experience within that timeline that you can then reflect on, because you're seated at a higher level of resolution that you couldn't maybe see clearly at that time. So that's the difference between lack consciousness and also abundant consciousness, right? And knowing that you are experiencing everything that you need at whatever stage, and it's always in benefit for the soul's evolution. So it's like it doesn't have to be, there's a level of discipline to it, but there's also a level of fluidity that needs to be realized, no matter what you're currently experiencing. It's like, it may not look spiritual, but it innately is. Everything is spirit. Everything is source, right? The situation doesn't have to look like light for it to be light. So can you, I feel like the biggest practice is going to be kind of gently bringing awareness into whatever you're experiencing. And then, like, for example, you're going to a grocery store, it seems like it's very mundane, but then you recognize that this is just a unified field playing with itself. So if you wake up inside of the dream, oh, these are all different versions of me. Oh, the cashier that I'm exchanging this life force with, there's like this dance that's going on where I see them, I see myself in them. It's like it's very different than just unconsciously going around, I need to get this and this and this on my list. But sometimes we experience that and we have an unconscious exchange with a cashier to get home, and then we'll reflect back on that encounter and we may see a message that was encoded into it. Or there could be something that we reflect on and that we integrate that we weren't able to at the time. But it's like it happens exactly as it needs to and in a way that benefits the soul's expansion. That's what I would say. It's like the exercise of consciousness itself. We have to experience, it's in the contraction that the expansion happens, if that makes sense, right? It's like we expand into higher frameworks of unique existence only because we have that contraction. So
Yeah,
That's
we're
a
always
good
gonna
point.
plug back into the matrix. So, but you got to do it with discernment.
Yeah.
I love it.
I want to make a real quick point just to kind of piggyback off everything you said with all great stuff. I feel like that's helped me so much when I stopped looking for the perfect scenarios in order for me to um, recognize it as a scenario as something that's already spiritual. So sometimes it's like, uh, we want the right person, the right environment, the right everything in order for us to be like, oh, that's the sign. It's like, well, it was always in the imperfection or the imperfection of anything that you may consider to be imperfect, where the lessons or the experience was. So once again, going back to what I said about recognition, realizing that, oh, just because this might not necessarily be as morally good or right or wrong from based off of my ego, this is actually where my greatest growth is right here. This is where I can be of greater service. This is where I can actually be um, available for whatever soul spirit is trying to experience through me. But if I'm still judgmental about every person, place, or thing about in its reality, I find myself coming up short, and once again, not being able to be fully expressed.
yeah, and that's so on point, Mo, because it's like it reminds you of that quote when you were saying that around, if you think that you're enlightened, spend a week with your family.
Oh man,
And
that's a good one.
and that's like the whole point of like embodiment, right? Because nothing helps you realize, your unhealed patterns that help you create them. It's like it's one of those moments where and it's not that spending with family undoes your growth in any way, but it reveals the layers of you that are still asking for your attention. So it's like you can end up in the most interesting environments, but still begin to kind of admire what gets brought to the surface within you, because it's an invitation. Every round that you're creating, it's like, okay, what am I choosing to create within this experience? And I remember I did some readings on this like a while ago about third dimensional ways of thinking versus sending your consciousness out. For example, it's just there's power in presence and there's power in pausing in the present moment. So before we choose to respond, we can literally be precognitive in the way everyone has intuition like this, in the way where, okay, so if I choose to let's just say mirror back the wounds of maybe suffering in some way, or I decide to say this thing compared to saying this thing, what would be the next sequence of events to unfold? So you're kind of going into the quantum field, you're saying, what is the best way to navigate this situation? What's the best kind of way to do things? And eventually they'll become mirrors of like what's left unspoken. What are you having to say to yourself in this moment that maybe you think that you need from the external, or there's boundaries left that have not yet been held or been owned, but or your inner child is still waiting for you to finally integrate something that you weren't able to do in the past. So there are always opportunities, and there are always these subtle invitations. But yeah, or maybe it's just like again, it's like we come back to situations because time is spherical, not linear, where we may finally realize in that moment and embody the new version of self and no longer reinforce an outgrown version of self. So it may just be an invitation to finally practice all it is that we've learned, and finally put that, integrate that into our experience. And that's what it is to become healed, and that's what it is to become whole. So it can feel intense, right? Because it's like enlightenment isn't proven in just like being silent in a retreat, or on a mountaintop, or all in solitude, but it's proven in the room where your earliest kind of nervous system maps were written. It can feel very intense, but it's a revelation that happens within those moments.
I like that.
And that's what spiritual can be.
Well,
You said that was Mo's quote where he talked about the family. I like that. That's really good. You spend a week with your family.
It's like, what's the point of growing ourselves, developing our character, allowing ourselves to be the greatest versions of ourselves if we're not going to be the light that we need to be in these dark environments? So it's like, it's kind of pointless. Like, okay, light, okay, like, nah, not go be a light for those people who really need you, and they're never going to look like what you expect. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's true.
Very true.
I wanted to say, like when you were talking about the astral, and it was just this perfect transition where you were talking about the astral realm, and then Mo said, "Don't lose yourself." And I felt like, because I'm very interested, I'm super interested in this astral. I along with a lot of others probably have a lot of questions about the astral. But that was really nice how it transitioned to Mo, and Mo was like, "Yeah, but you gotta know yourself. You can't lose yourself. You can't you still have to be in this construct. You still got to be present. You still got to be in your body." And so that was a good reminder, because I'm so determined, because I heard a long time ago that there's these astral communities, and you can like meet up with, like, is that a thing where you meet up with friends in the astral, or is that not true? Like
No,
astral traveling?
yeah, I've experienced that for sure. Even like astral universities I've gone to, where there's a co-creation happening in those spaces. I've seen all kind of things in the astral, but they're essentially dreamscapes or dream landscapes that you're exploring, but you're always traveling into dimensional fields through resonance. So whatever your dominant vibration is during like waking life, that's showing you what your dominant vibration is just subconsciously, and you'll travel into your subconscious realms during dream time as well. So if that's something that you're working on, and that's something that you're exercising, and you go into the astral with that intention, and it truly is in resonance, you'll naturally, it's self-organized, the system. But just know that whatever you're experiencing in the astral, even in this dream that we're in, it's always in resonance with what your soul needs to explore at that stage of your evolution. So sometimes there's invitations or tests or storylines that will play out that are designed to it kind of show you what you're healing and how that's going to translate into your experience on earth. So let's just say you have like an unbalanced root chakra, right? And that is the portal that you're going to go through in that night when you go to sleep, because that's your vibrational state at the time of the body kind of imploding, but stuck with the silver cord, right? So it goes on to explore, what does an unbalanced root theme look like? Where you might find yourself in war zones, you might find yourself being chased. Okay, those are like the dreams where you're being hunted or you're running from someone. That's your own shadow that's asking for integration. The moment that you stop running from it and you begin to face that shadow, something very profound happens, because there's this integration, and you choose that it no longer has power over you, but it's just asking to be held. So it's like the moment that you can apply consciousness and awareness into those kind of encounters, which only happens when you practice that in the 3D, that bleeds into dream space naturally, right? You recognize, okay, if you have free will in this realm, that bleeds into dream space. Otherwise, you'll end up in all kind of encounters with other dimensional beings that occupy those planes and the different kind of archetypes that are showing you what the prominent theme is that you're essentially working through. So that's going to be, themes that you may feel unsafe, and you're being called, okay, when you come back to the third dimension, bring safety into the body, and then watch how that also translates into dream time, and you'll know what it is that you need most in that moment. So it's all different kind of themes, right? In like the sacral imbalance, you might experience flooding, or you might experience being it really gets very complex. I'll probably do like a bigger breakdown. I've just done the introduction on the astral right now and how the chakra system works, but if you don't have free will, you can end up coming into encounters where there may be intimacy taking place, and actually in those parallels you will then like I remember for me when I was working through imbalances in the chakras, and I didn't realize I had free will in those realms, I would actually end up having intercourse with somebody, and it would be something that I didn't necessarily want to do, and there would be a sense of shame around it, and the next night I would be having an abortion, and I would be terminating the pregnancy in that realm. So it's everything will bleed into each other, because you're finishing what is unfinished. Essentially, it's like you are creating everything. And you're creating these experiences, and if you're not aware that you have free will, well then there's certain parasitic timelines that can open up, essentially, and that can happen with all kind of even ET experiences as well, with like hybrids and everything. So it's it's really important to have free will, but that's like a whole nother topic.
Yeah, that's a way
deep.
of protecting yourself.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that information. But yeah, maybe to cut this guy short, I have to get up super early. I got to do some training. So I got to get ready to go ahead and turn it in. But I appreciate the build. Today was amazing. Both of you guys share some amazing information. I appreciate the channel. Lee, you always tapped in, man. We appreciate you as well. PT, thanks for having me and giving me this opportunity to sit in, listen, time in, and just be a part of this amazing development that we have. And as we, reset and go from here, I think that we're going to continue to grow and expand and have fun with this thing, because for me, it's all about having fun. I want to have as much fun with this thing as I possibly can. And you guys are helping me in that regard. So thanks so much. And you guys have a great build. And I'm about to go to the astral plane myself. And I'll keep you guys in mind. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We're going to close up now as well. Is there all your links for your Instagram and YouTube are going to be in the description box of this video, but if people want to be able to reach out to you, tell them where they can find you at.
Definitely.
𝓬𝓮𝓷𝓭 Studios. Okay. All right.
See you guys later.
See you
later, brother.
Bye. Okay, any closing out messages that you guys have, and then I'm going to let you go because I've got some reads to do as well today.
This was a great talk. I love this.
Yeah,
this is a really good talk.
Beautiful.
I definitely want to go back and listen to everything that we talked about.
Great. Yeah,
and then I think you said you're going to start doing a series again on something that you were saying.
Yeah, the astral. Yeah, I've only done like when I did the first introduction for the video on the astral, and I was speaking about the different.
That's what it is.
The chakra bodies that we move through. That's like only scratching the surface. And when I did that, I thought, wow, it's such a deep topic that I could literally speak about it for hours. So
well, I'd be willing to talk about it for hours, because I have so many questions, but I know that everything is divine timing. One thing I did want to say is that when you mentioned that you would tap your hand and then you would tap your hand with your energy body.
Yeah.
I remembered that, and I would just be walking and I'd put like my energy body hands above my head, or like if I was doing Reiki, I would use I would visualize like energy body hands, but it felt good. Like I'd just be walking with my regular arms down, but I would just walk and I'd visualize like my energy arms up to the sky, like taking an energy or whatever. Like I was just kind of playing around with it, and it feels good. It feels really good to do that.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you allow that to bleed into waking life, because that's really what it is. In the quantum field, anything you're creating with your imagination. That's what you're doing. So if you're tuning into being a powerful creator being, and it's like you're manipulating and seeing how malleable reality is. It truly is. So yeah, what you explain there is super beautiful. It's like the morphing of the field to your own intention. So whatever you tend to create, whatever you feel that you're creating, whatever you can visualize as well in your field, there's so many. It's like that's almost like the oversoul coming in. That's almost how I see it as well, where you're tuning into it. But yeah, that's really beautiful that you allow that to bleed into waking life, because you're creating with your subconscious. That's what you're doing. Same thing in the astral plane or in this realm. We're seeing how powerful it is to create from the subconscious.
Thank you so much, Tiffy. Thank you for the space.
Thank you both for coming on. It was such a pleasure. Everything happened exactly the way that it needed to today.
Yeah, I really appreciate these talks, because you're getting, you're like, this is like a community that is so special for everybody here, like to have this community. And I literally walked into somebody at the store and I spoke to him, and we started getting into a spiritual conversation, and something that stuck with me that I never forgot was, he goes, I want to learn and I want to be into this, but I don't have a community. And I didn't forget that. He just goes, I would love to, but I don't have a community. And I was just like, and I sent him links, and I sent him like, I told him the Reiki centers over here, but it stuck with me, so it's very special to have this space for people to talk. And I'm on cloud 9 right now. Like, the rest of my day, I'm going to be just ecstatic, because I've never, I don't know if I've ever channeled like that in front of people. So thank you. I really appreciate everything that you do for all of us. So, and Lee, I love you too, bro. You're amazing.
Love you, brother.
Yeah, no, it's remembering that we're all powerful creator beings. Even the man in the grocery store, like, he will always find what is in resonance and in alignment with him. And even just bumping into you would have sparked that a seed in him. It would have awakened and helped him remember that it's always accessible to you. Everything is always accessible to us. But thank you so much for your channeling as well, Richie, and also for your insights, Lee. It's always deeply appreciated. And yeah, I'll let you guys go, and yeah, we'll do this again soon. But it's beautiful.
Thank you so much. Have a great night, I guess. What you're
yeah,
over there? Okay. All right. Good night.
Have a wonderful day.
Have a good day. Bye, guys. Bye. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for everyone in the chat, everyone in the room, and for your insights. I didn't get to look at the live chat, so thank you everyone as well who donated. Thank you so much, Steve. Consume this. Thank you for your energy. May that return back to you tenfold. Thank you so much, Empowered Wendy. She said, let's play Follow the Leader with the super chat. Thank you so much. She said, love to Mo as well. Thank you, Terry, for your super chat as well, for Mo 100%, and Wendy again. Okay, thank you guys so much. Okay, if you come across this video for some reason and it enters into your space-time continuum experience, do consider subscribing, so we'd love to have you around. Personal reading details are also down below. I'm gonna love and leave you guys right there. It's 5:55 on the clock as I take a look. Okay, so big change is coming. And until next time, bye.